Oh my god!
A,
and we didn't record
B,
any of it.
B, C.
We didn't have anything
I
good
owe
anyway.
everybody an apology. I didn't hit record.
That's fine. I
The
don't.
cameras picked it up, so I mean, in theory, I can still use the audio from that. It'll just sound a little weird till right now when I turn the fucking recorder.
Let's just do a
on.
new cold open. It's fine. We'll do like quick couple minutes.
How's everyone doing?
Do we need a new cold?
Dude, honestly, I've been very tired these days, and I've been slacking on my laundry. I have a huge pile of clothing on my floor, and my laundry bin is like completely filled. So I gotta tomorrow. I got a day off. I gotta do some of that. And I'm sure everyone's interested in hearing about that.
Hope you get it done.
Thank you.
I went to Shelby's the other day,
The shawarma place.
the shawarma place, and can I be completely honest?
Sure.
It's not as good as I remember it being.
Wow.
It just didn't hit yesterday. I heard about this place called Sumac.
What did you just call me?
Sumac. Apparently, it's bigger portions.
Wow,
Cheaper price.
Where is this?
Better shawarma. It's in Oakville.
interesting.
It's in Oakville, and
Are we gonna have to make a jaunt over there?
Huh?
Are we gonna have to make a jaunt over there?
Why'd you double down?
to go?
What does that
Can
word
I
mean?
define jaunt?
Yeah, I want to know what that word means
Like
verbatim.
Also spell it.
Jaunt.
Okay, now you're gonna define it, and then we're gonna search it up.
It's like a like a little trip or a journey or something like that to
Is
like
it?
do somewhere. Go on a jaunt.
Is
Do a
it?
jaunt.
We don't have to search it up right now, but I want you to know that I will be
Where my
searching it up
phone
at some
at?
point.
Sure.
How come you've never used that word in Scrabble?
Jaunt.
Yeah,
Because he likes Zags.
J-A-U-N-T.
he likes Zags.
I guess it's 5 letters, so it's possible to play. I don't know. I just haven't played it.
Wait. Why wouldn't it have
Oh, yeah,
been
he's
possible
right.
to play?
Like
Jaunt-
I've never gotten the letters.
Jaunt is a short excursion or journey for pleasure.
Wow.
There you go.
Right on, huh?
Wow.
Her little
Pretty-
jaunt.
pretty
Fuck you, Patrick.
Pretty
Little
accurate.
jaunt.
Wow.
Here's the
Very
here's the
good.
example sentence. Her little jaunt in France was over.
There you go. Don't you look stupid now? Don't you have egg on your
No,
face?
I just wanted to know if it was accurate or not. That's all.
Um.
I didn't doubt you for a second.
Thank you.
For 1 second, I maybe doubted you.
I had last night.
Mm.
I
Oh, me
ordered
and Patrick did too the other night.
Two
2
nights
nights
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
I got curry chicken because I wanted to give something new a try. Not good.
Interesting. I was gonna say
Curry
I-
chicken?
As soon as you said
They
the
have
word,
curry chicken.
Wait. Why
Curry
would
chicken.
you go to a bar restaurant and go? I'm gonna get the curry chicken.
I've tried their other stuff before. I had their shepherd's pie before. It was
Yeah, but
pretty good.
Yeah, but it's an Irish place, right?
Yeah.
And shepherd's
But
pie is like
in the
UK.
They do that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why that makes sense.
No, he
but
said
why
no,
does it?
he's saying curry is popular in the UK.
curry. They
It's very
do
popular.
they curry chicken stuff in the UK.
They do a lot of curry in the
No.
UK.
Can
That's
we get a
true.
fact check?
No,
Or
it's
you can-
true. I mean, I'm telling you, it's objectively true.
Oh, okay.
I
No,
would
but in the
believe
UK,
that.
there's a huge Indian population. There's a lot of like curry is like very big there.
Oh, I see.
But I would also believe the pub food in England. Say what you will about England and how shitty its cuisine is, but I would venture a guess that for like pub food, England's probably like the spot to go because their pubs are fucking legit, and it's like all the sports and stuff going on there, and how
Probably,
people
yeah.
practically live
You
at
get
those
it-
fucking places.
You can get all the beans and sausages that you
Yeah, you
want.
can get all
Like,
the
great,
fucking-
great looking food.
beans and
Some of that.
bangers and mash and whatever the fuck you want for breakfast.
Can we just say? I
What a
mean,
country.
I know people shit on the cuisine of is that camera on? Because like the light's very bright. Is that
Yeah,
recording?
it's just my brightness is
Okay.
high, and now it's closer to the wall than it did, so hopefully it's a better shot.
I wanted to
We'll
say.
be right back.
Oh, I wanted to say one more
Okay.
thing. Sorry.
Sure.
We went the other night, and I got 2 drinks, as you know.
Yep.
Watered down like crazy. Not
Really?
watered down, but just like they just tasted so off.
I
And
think
like,
I think our server
getting ripped
didn't-
off.
I think our server wasn't having a good time with us, and maybe he spat in it.
But what happened? He came to us literally. We
was-
went with 2 friends, Marina and Lauren. Right off the bat, they went to the washroom. The server didn't see them at first.
Yeah.
Mark and I went and sat down. He came up to us, and he was all smiles, like, "Hey, how you
no,
guys
he
doing?"
was not.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah,
He was, right?
He actually was. He recognized us.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What's going on, gentlemen?" He was like, kind
Was
of.
it normal beard guy?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
taller kind of
The
white
taller
guy.
guy,
with the
white
beard?
guy,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, he was actually pretty happy. You're right.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't
Happy
upset.
enough.
He wasn't upset.
He wasn't jovial, but he was,
Yeah.
he looked fine.
He looked fine, and we were like, "Yeah, we're good. We just want to start off with some drinks." We gave him the order. He leaves. The girls come back. He comes back with our order, and his tune, 180, turns 180 on its face.
You know what? He must have had a bad experience because we were sitting outside in the patio,
Yeah.
outside, maybe he had a bad experience inside and he got in a bad mood or something.
Maybe.
But when we came back, we also ordered a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And it was kind of late. It was like midnight or something at this point, or 11:30.
Yeah.
So I don't know what time the kitchen closed. Maybe we were like kind of cutting it close. And he was like, "Oh, these assholes are ordering." I ordered a burger and a poutine. We got wings and splitting a bunch of wings and whatever. And
Yeah.
Patrick got the potato skins. So maybe he was.
But
Kind
he
of
didn't even
frustrated.
say last call. Like normally the
That's
waiters
true.
come and they say like, okay, this is
Kitchen
your last
closes it,
call. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But-
And honestly, I don't think we were very close to the. I think the restaurant closes at like 1, right?
It was 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah,
We went there because they closed late.
And the
right?
kitchen closes probably like at 12:30 or 1. And we were like ordering at like 11:45 or
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
I think we were fine.
We were fine.
Anyway.
3 theories to toss out,
Okay.
and we'll do Occam's razor with this and see what makes the most sense. Number 1, to Mark's point, something else in the restaurant. He had some other encounter, soured his mood.
Okay.
Option 2, something outside of work soured his mood. Like he got a phone call, grandma's on fire, or like a big bet just fell through, or like, something that would piss you off outside of work. Option 3, stick with me here. When it was just you and Mark, who he recognizes,
Yeah.
smiles, the boys are here. As soon as the girls show up, not impressed
The
anymore.
boys are here.
Why would
What are the odds that this guy, not even saying he's gay necessarily,
We made this
but
joke
just was like,
literally at the same
happy that the boys were there. Maybe it's a gay thing, maybe not.
We
But
made
was just
that joke.
excited, and then sees the girls there and is like, ah.
Yeah.
I'd like to make an interesting observation
Mm-hmm.
that I just made right now.
Okay.
As Matty was talking, he didn't look over at me or Malcolm once. I thought that was a little interesting.
Usually I try to play the room, but I figured,
I was
Patrick's-
desiring your gaze. I was like, I was there at Ivy Arms, and he was only
maybe it's
looking
because
at
Patrick
All
brought
mine,
it up.
baby.
I don't know. I felt like because it was Patrick's.
Ate
But
it up.
anyways, of those 3 theories, what do you think is the most likely?
Well,
Yeah.
at the table when the girls came back, they made the joke of, "Oh, maybe he's in love with you guys." And he wanted it to be like maybe a threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna assume it's the one where something happened in the restaurant.
Yeah, I think so.
Because also like, I was telling Patrick didn't realize this, but Patrick asked for a fork or something. Oh no,
Yeah,
I
cutlery.
asked for a fork, and Patrick like kind of out loud was like, "Oh, I'll take a fork too." But I guess he didn't hear Patrick because he came back with just 1 fork, and then Patrick was like, "Oh, can I get a fork as well?" And he kind of like half rolled his eyes, like, "All right, I'm gonna go get."
I
another."
just got a fork.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
didn't you ask for 2?
And then also Patrick was like in the middle of conversation with like I think Lauren or something when he came back with Patrick's food or something like that. He put the food down and Patrick didn't really see him do it, and he
Yeah.
was like locked in with whoever he was talking to.
Yeah.
And the guy just put it down and kind of like stuttered, like waited for half a second, and then he was like kind of looked frustrated that Patrick didn't say thank you or acknowledge him at all. He just put the food down and he just walked away. And I was like, "Oh, I think he might have been." And Patrick was like, "Oh, I didn't notice that."
Yeah. May I just say,
Sure,
Please.
like, I get it, but like,
get over it,
like,
bitch.
like, have like a critical eye to you. Like,
Sure.
we're in some sort of like, we were
Social
in
setting.
some sort of conversation where
Well,
we were locked in. You
That's
know
why
what
I'm
I'm saying?
assuming
So it's
there's been an external factor that's. I'm sure he wouldn't like normally be like that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems like a good guy.
Yeah. He seems
He
like
seems
a
like
really
a Clark
good guy.
Kent, doesn't he?
Honestly, yeah, that's actually
He
good.
has a goatee, but
Yeah. He went to your alma mater. He went
What?
to your alma.
he did.
Yeah.
Like,
U of Guelph?
oh, he went to Guelph. I thought we were
To
talking
Guelph.
about the high school.
No. No.
Alma mater refers to undergrad.
I think it just refers to university.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know if it refers.
I thought
to
it just meant to
undergrad.
like same school, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
like same
university,
school, but
okay.
university. I think
Cool.
it's yeah. So he went to Guelph.
That's good, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
letting me know.
You're welcome.
So what else?
Really?
Yo, whatever happened to that one waitress?
That
You
had
guys
the
know
hots
what I'm
for
talking
you?
about? No, not. Oh my
Which
god.
one?
No, not her.
Which waitress?
Oh.
Now that I said it, I actually can't remember what she looks like. But you guys know what I'm talking about. There's this one
Which
waitress that
one?
we went in and saw all the time, and we were like, she's stunning.
Don't-
You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
This is
I think I remember,
vaguely.
yeah.
Stunning. We all said she was stunning.
Yeah.
This is vaguely familiar to me. I would venture a guess based on how long it's been since we've seen her there.
Yeah,
that she
she's
just doesn't
definitely
work there
not.
anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
working there
remember, but I
no
mean,
more.
I think
I'll take your word for it.
remember her.
But she didn't live in Cleveland, does she? Do you know if she
Yeah.
lived?
Oh.
You don't know?
I remember
Why don't
chasing
you
some
know?
girls down the street.
That is true.
Wrap it up. Let's get into the show. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to episode 61.
8 more.
8 more of Wildly Adequate, the show about anything, everything, and usually nothing. I, as always, am 1/4 of your hosting crew, Mr. Matthew Urso. And I am joined by Patrick. Mark, and Malcolm. If you like the show, please like, share, subscribe, check out the socials. We're everywhere. Patrick's doing the Lord's work out there. Gentlemen, I believe Malcolm's taking us away.
Yeah.
What's that on your mic?
It's my Stitch pineapple flavored chapstick.
I'm honestly
see that?
impressed that you had it balanced on the
Can I
mic like
say I'm in desperate need? I'm in desperate need of chapstick,
I need that.
and I'm in desperate need of like. Oh God,
that. Did he throw it? I don't
No,
see him
got it.
looking.
he did. He
Oh.
just like threw it behind him. So I'm in desperate need of chapstick,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and I'm in desperate need of, surprisingly enough,
Hand
hand moisturizer.
Yeah.
At this time
Um,
of the year,
I don't think it's a time of the year thing. Like
I think
I
it's
think,
almost
I think it gets,
certainly a time
it gets
of the
worse
year
in the
thing.
winter.
Yo, remember what my hands looked like at the gym a couple
Yep,
days ago?
yep.
It's not even a sign of that
Mm.
sort of dead skin, like
Well, 'cause
Yeah.
your
cuts.
hands are so clammy.
Yeah, they just
No,
moisten
but
right
if
up.
they're so clammy, then why
I
did
mean, I
they?
can see from here that
Okay,
there's
no,
a little
but
bit
these
of
are
skin.
calluses though.
Oh.
These are from weights.
Yeah.
Something you
Wouldn't know, but no, you're
Okay.
not wrong.
Patrick goes to the gym 3 times.
I know.
These are
You're
calluses.
not
from the
wrong.
I
gym.
know. I know.
You're not
I'm in
wrong.
no place to say
I
that.
would not know. Anyways, Malcolm.
Okay, yeah. So my topic is based off of a dream I had last night.
Mm.
Okay.
This dream, it was a nightmare,
Oh.
more
Oh,
of
no,
a
I'm scared.
nightmare. But
I'm gonna try to read into it and see what it actually means.
Psychoanalyze it.
So I was a character that wasn't me. It was as if it was a movie, and like each of my friends and people I know were also different characters that looked nothing like you and were not you at all.
Mm.
And World War III had been declared,
Uh-oh.
and it was declared on Canada and USA. And so North Korea was sending nukes over to Canada.
Okay.
And like in my dream, like I'm just there walking around, and I look up in the sky and I just see a plane like zoom on by, and I just see it drop something, and I'm just thinking like
Well, this is it.
I'm just thinking like this is it, like it happens. They called it, they're doing it, and it's happening here.
They didn't bluff.
They didn't bluff, and they're doing it here, and then it drops, and then it just implodes, and everything goes crazy, and I don't know how I'm alive still. I'm alive after like 3 or 4 of these things.
Oh, wow.
I'm seeing them happen all over the place.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna fast forward, and then to like the end of the war, and really a really weird thing happened at the end of the war. They dropped a last bomb,
Okay.
but it was a bomb that landed on the water, and then when it imploded on the water, it looked like fireworks, and it didn't explode.
That's cool.
So it was like a happy ending.
It was like a happy ending for North Korea for some
Happy
reason.
ending to nuclear war.
Celebratory
And then everyone was like rebuilding their houses and their shelters, and there was like hardly anybody left because everyone's dead.
Okay.
But
Did I die?
probably.
This is what happens when you watch Fallout. You start having
But
nightmares about
I
nuclear war.
wanted to talk about how scary is nuclear warfare to everybody?
Oh my
Because to me,
goodness.
it's absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
Now we're up my alley here. Like that specifically, or just even the idea of like World War III?
I feel like World War III is going to be a nuclear war, so I mean, let's just put them together.
Here's the thing. This kind of goes back sort of in a more obviously fictitious way to my state of the world topic from like a month or so
That's
ago
what I was
about
thinking,
like
too.
how shit things are in a lot of ways and how like scary things are right now. The idea of a third world war is so weird and interesting to me because obviously you now have the added element of like there's a lot of people with the bomb, so that makes things worse. But I don't know if it would go to that right away because I think there is some, I mean, obviously for decades there has been some validity to the idea of like mutually assured destruction, of like everybody kind of realizing like, hey, the second you hit that button, everybody else is going to hit their buttons, so nobody really wins this. So I think if there ever was going to be some full-blown large-scale thing like that again, I don't think it would start that way, at least not right away, because I think there would be, maybe not with North Korea, because they're a little fucking nuts. Like, I could see them doing something stupid. But, like, if a China and a Russia were like, all right, Europe and, U.S. and Canada, like, let's do this dance, I don't think it would start that way right away, because I think there'd be some amount of self-preservation to be like, well, we don't want to get too carried away here. I mean, come on, let's see what the drones and the fucking foot soldiers can do first before we worry about that.
Yeah.
But yes, it's horrifying.
Now, what I want to know is, would you guys try and get out of conscription?
I mean,
Absolutely.
conscription's not really a thing anymore. So
Well,
I don't
if it
even
came
think
to it,
if it absolutely that's a tough question. I don't know.
would you try and get out of it?
Like, how old am I when it happens? I feel like they're not going to
They
conscript
come
like
to
a
your door and they
30-year-old.
go, "Come on,
Oh,
Mark."
they would. I think
Or
they
like a
would
40.
definitely.
If you're 40, are they going to conscript
That's
you?
definitely
40 is
pushing it.
pushing it,
Yeah.
but I would assume like 30, that 18 to
Let's
30
say
range
20
is when
let's
they
say-
start licking their lips.
Next year?
Let's say mid-20s.
Mid-20s.
So nowish.
Nowish, yeah, basically.
So like
Are
in
you-
a week this happens.
it's a nuclear war.
It's a
Are you gonna go to the door in a wheelchair?
Now, keep in mind, this is on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
I think if this is like a nuclear war, like it's real bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd feel like I'd theoretically, I think I'd like to
I feel like we
serve
would.
my country.
I think.
No, serve my country.
serve your- yeah, I feel like we would have like a talk,
Yeah.
all of us, and we'd be like,
Nah.
I think maybe
We'd all
like you
talk
would
to-
say like, oh, I want to serve your country, and then Malcolm wouldn't dare be like, I'm gonna back out of it after you say that. You know what I'm saying?
Like peer pressure.
Yeah, it'd be like
Well,
peer
the thing-
pressure.
I couldn't
The thing-
see all my friends go off to war, and I'd be like, "Yeah, good luck, guys."
I
yeah,
just-
right. You'd have
my-
to come with us.
My mindset is like, if it's like pretty much like the world is doomed
Mhm.
and there's like so much insane shit going on with the nuclear bombs and stuff, I'd do it because it's like I'm probably gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
But if it's like kind of like I could easily survive if I don't get conscripted, and I'm surely gonna die if I do get conscripted, I might consider otherwise. Be like, I want to live, so I'm not gonna go.
It
there.
also depends on like the context of the thing, because not that I think we would, but if it was a thing where like Canada and the U.S. were the aggressors,
Okay.
then I'm like, well, I'm not conscripting for this shit.
Sure,
Like, fuck
sure.
that. But if it was
I
more
doubt
a
that,
thing of
yeah.
like a Russia was like, all right, let's do this, then I feel like there's more of that obligation almost
I know this is weird to
to
say.
be like, fuck you, like we're gonna stop you kind of thing.
I know this is weird to say, but I feel like there's kind of there would be like a lot of people would be excited about that,
About war?
about being able to fight for your country, like because I feel like a lot of
I think a lot of people are.
I
Excited
think a
about
lot of
that.
I think a lot of especially like guys that like they might feel like they don't have like a true meaning in their life and like they're just kind of like living whatever, you know. But then like the second they're like, I can fight for my country and this is what my life means now. Like my life has like an ultimate like defending my country thing. I think a lot of people will be like, fuck yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like obviously it's messed up, but I think a lot of people have that view. I think.
I think a lot of people are gonna see it as a real life opportunity for Call of Duty.
Oh god.
Feel like time to get some fucking 360 no scopes
Yeah. Right?
Great.
out on the plains.
I played MW2.
But yeah, I don't know. The idea is just so scary. But I also, there's a part of me, I mean, not nearly smart enough to make a guess like this. So it wouldn't be an educated guess. Let's say it would just be, darts on a board. But like, there's a part of me that doubts if it's even possible for something like that to ever really happen again. Like in a World War II or World War I type thing. Not literally like, is it possible, but more in the sense of like, there's so much weird, like, geopolitical nonsense and all this shit nowadays that it's like, who would even be... Like, you could see a situation where it's like Russia and China in a very like Germany and Japan type of dynamic kind of going after, and maybe they get like, a North Korea and maybe like, I don't know, a handful of Middle Eastern countries that would be like, yeah, fuck the West. Like,
What else?
maybe that's some sort of like congregate of like countries. And then obviously you've got like, it's just, to me, I think of it where it's like, you look at like a UN and you look at like a NATO too, where it's like, it just seems like that's so beyond.
When's NATO 2 coming out?
When's NATO's second
NATO's
batch?
sequel.
When's the update coming? Because like the
2.0.
entire point of NATO is to prevent shit like that. That's why everybody gets so nervous when the Russia thing of like, I hope they don't go strolling into like Poland or one of these NATO countries. Because I talked about it in my thing where it's like the whole Article 5 thing of NATO is like an attack on one is an attack on all. If you go after one of these countries, you go after all of these countries. So it's like that in and of itself is supposed to be such a deterrent
Yeah.
to a Russia or like a North Korea or one of these fucking
Honestly,
insane governments.
hearing about all of that makes me want to play Risk.
I want to play
Okay.
this so bad.
I wanna be a-
true world.
I want to be a strategist.
But so that there is the part of that to me where it's like I can't even necessarily visualize it. Also because of technology and all the shit. And like, did you bring up the conscription thing?
I did.
That to me also seems like such a not even plausible idea anymore because there's so much like drones and like this shit and all this shit I'm sure the government has that we don't even fucking know
It's not
about.
effective to send out foot soldiers. Is it probably
Matthew?
once
Yeah, like I'm sure that's obviously look at what's happening in like a Russia and Ukraine. Like it's not that foot soldiers don't exist anymore, but like
You don't have
the
punching
idea
power.
that it would be a World War II type thing of like we're sending hundreds of thousands of like our people overseas kind of thing when we could just like fucking bomb them from space and like these long range missiles and drones.
Can the thumbnail be all of us as soldiers?
I like that idea. Permission, and I want this on again. I said the record once already. I want this on the record. If in our lifetime a conscription happens, I would like permission to backhand you
To backhand me for doubting that it would happen.
for jinxing it.
No.
Yeah.
Sure. You
Just
can,
grab him by the shirt.
you can backhand me while I'm in line, being like, "Hey, I guess I have to sign up for this
Yeah,
now,"
okay.
or not sign up. I guess I gotta fucking go wherever to attend this shit.
You know what I feel like the worst part of conscription would be, like before the actual war part, right? Like obviously the war is the worst part, but
Yeah.
I feel like the worst part before that would be like boot camp.
Mm.
I'd be like, they'd be like, you gotta keep running. I'd be like, I can't do it. Like, my cardio is not good.
And it's like in any war movie, it's like they hold it against you in the sense of like
You're a
letting
bitch.
your
Yeah.
team, your squad down, your
Yeah,
brother,
yeah.
you're letting them down.
Like,
kind of
as
thing.
soon as it gets to maybe I could run for a little bit, but as soon as it comes to like the crawling onto the mud with the barbed wire and shit, I'd be like, dude, I'm out. I'm not gonna have that shit in my mouth and my eyes and stuff. Like imagine
You're gonna look in your
I'd be
commanding
crying,
officer's
bro.
face.
I'd be crying. Like under that shit? No way.
God.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a very
Do you think? I'm just imagining a scenario where we all get conscripted and
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
at the same boot camp.
Yes,
and we're
yeah, yeah.
training
in my head. I
together.
want to be like in the same platoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I want to be in the same outfit as my boys.
Yeah.
So I can then like have, if I survive, crippling fucking shell shock for the rest of my life as I'm back at home just thinking about all my friends who got blown to shit.
And you're
Wait,
you're
wait,
bald.
are you the one that survives? And
'Cause
I'm not
I
the one that.
imagine you guys are
Which
dead.
one
Yeah,
of us would be
good.
the ones to like really, really rush through no man's land, and which ones would be kind of like get up there and kind of like
I
take
hope
cover?
none of us
Dude,
would rush
dude,
through no man's land.
I want to be the one who's like in the secure bunker, like planning shit. I'd be like, here's where we're gonna send them. We're gonna send
Here's
them.
where we're gonna send
That's
them.
why back in the day, I think it
Patrick,
was,
here's where we're
He's a
gonna send you.
general.
Yeah, you're gonna run over there.
back in the day it was a different thing, whereas now I think I don't even know if it would matter as much. But like
no
I've
trenches.
definitely- I've had that thought of like, would I want to be a pilot? Like, does that buy me better odds
I don't
being
think
up
it
in the air?
does.
And I feel like during World War II, obviously the planes were way shittier, but like there wasn't, surface to air missiles and like computer lock on.
Like
and
a
all that
lock-on,
shit.
yeah.
It was more like, you just have these fucking Nazi pricks like in artillery cannons on the ground, like just trying to hit as much as they
I
can.
feel like your best bet would be to be like a commander who like gets to like literally sit in the back
But
line.
that's the thing you have to work up to. I'm saying
Sure.
you could in theory get like conscripted to the army and be like, hey, I'm going into like the Air Force and like become somebody on like a bomber or a fighter
I
plane
feel
or
like
something.
the Navy's the way to go.
Honestly,
I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna-
try
Kind
my.
of scary too.
Get into a submarine. What are the odds you're gonna get blown up?
I'm gonna try my hardest to be not an emergency medic who has to be on the front lines,
Oh,
but like a
no.
medic who's like, all right, the battle's
At-
done,
at
bring the
base
boys.
camp.
nurse that's back in the very,
Yeah,
very back.
exactly.
At
At
base
base camp, exactly.
Yeah, I just like that's where I've thought of.
And then
like,
also, if you're a medic, you have the big like plus sign on you.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to like.
Well-
I mean, they will. They, listen,
one's
it's
allowed.
war. It's
No
war.
one's
But like
allowed.
in
Wait,
theory, they
is that
shouldn't
why
be
they-
aiming at you.
Do they put a big plus for the other side to be like, hey,
My
don't kill?
understanding is like, yeah, like
Or is
there's
it-
like
or is
an
it-
understanding of like the medics
Or probably
don't get like fucking shot at. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like there's no like. Also, it's probably for your own people to know who that it's
Mm.
like your.
for sure nowadays, but like back in the day, well, the Geneva Convention was that pre or post World War II?
I don't know, but it sounds delicious.
But that like
the Godiva cake.
I could be
convention.
making this up, but I think there was like
Geneva chocolate.
it might have been considered a war crime
To kill
during World War II. Like, I mean, it was for sure a war crime to like kill
does that
people
even-
surrendering.
what
and
does
like,
that
War
all that
crime
What
shit.
does
things
that
matter if nobody follows.
I was gonna say,
I know.
how are we?
The idea of war crimes is such a like
I
funny
know.
concept.
How are we we're instituting rules that are like, okay, that's too far.
Well, because
And we're bombing,
there
like,
are
houses
ideas
of
where it's
There's
like,
no-
well, you don't kill like at
Kids
or
and
time, you
women,
don't kill
children.
civilians, you don't like kill people surrendering. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to like kill medics. After World War One, it was like we should really stop with like chemical weapons because a lot of people watch them fucking boil people's faces off with mustard gas in World War One, and we're like, maybe we don't, maybe we just like shoot you or like blow you up and like that's the end of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for sure nowadays there's like absolutely war crimes against like if you're in like a Israel-Palestine thing or like a Russia-Ukraine thing and there's like, you know, Red Cross people and like UN medics and like all the shit trying to like if you killed them, that would be a big fucking no-no of like, you know, hey, do your thing over here, but like don't go after fucking
Don't kill the referee.
yeah, don't kill the people that are just like trying to save lives kind of thing that have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But
Don't be like cage fighting and then attacking the ref. It's like he's nothing to do with this.
you knock a guy out and like the guy comes over to like put ice on his head and then you're beating up the like
Yeah, so that he doesn't get the
yeah, so he can't put ice on him.
Yeah.
He's just start beating the shit out of that guy. But yeah, you've piqued my nerdy history and
I think Matty's
fear
hard
of the
right
war.
now.
I'm wow. Oh no, my jeans.
Oh my God.
He's
Yeah.
chubbed.
My jeans are
Why
giving
is
me
it
one of
still
those
up?
false. I undo my fly.
Oh,
with
no.
that.
Oh God, don't.
Well, that-
Okay.
Sometimes
You're
I
trying
think
to
about like
deflate
where
it?
the best spot to hide would be if there was nuclear warfare. Like, is a fridge really gonna work? Does a fridge work?
I mean, right
don't
now
know.
with like a not Fallout scenario, where obviously in Fallout the whole idea being that like the Vault Tech company comes in and they're like, hey, we have these like underground vaults like for hundreds of thousands of people over America. Right now, if they were like right now in 20 minutes while we're doing this show, a fucking nuke's gonna hit
Fridge in the
us
basement.
for some reason. Immediately, I'm driving home. I am jamming my like fridge into my cold room and I'm just gonna fucking hide in there
Dude, how
because that's at least like cement walls and the fridge and I'm like just praying.
Dude, how funny would it be if imagine someone doing that, like dude, all the work to get in there, like emptying everything. He picks up the fridge, he puts it in the cold room. He's in the fridge, he's squeezing the fridge, and it just kills him. Ah! He dies anyway. Like it fucking blows up, and he's just crammed dying. Like he's burning up in the.
That's awful.
We're going, and the fridge is the way to go. That's that was always what was it? Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when he's in that like.
Isn't that the bad one?
When he's in like that Nuketown place.
Nuketown.
It's like a Nuketown where it's like it's like a fake city to like drop a nuke on. And that scene in that movie that was hilariously panned. When the fucking nuke drops and he just hides in the fridge and then the fridge gets like launched like 100 feet in the air and then just crashes and lands and fucking
And they open
already at this point old Harrison Ford at like 2008 or whatever it is just comes like fucking crawling out of the fridge. And it's like you just got nuked, dude, and then the fridge flew like 100 feet in the air and crashed.
You should have opened it and there's just soup in there.
Yeah.
So just, or his one arm is like that, one leg's like
It's
that.
it should have just been a skeleton human soup and then like his fucking fedora and the fucking credits start rolling. Like that should have been the fucking movie, but then they went and found aliens.
But it's like a really warped, messed up, slowed theme. Yeah, it's just-
Shout out to Indiana Jones. I haven't seen
I'm not a
it.
fan. I'll be honest. I think the character is cool. I wasn't a fan of the movie when we watched it.
I fell
Crushes my
asleep
soul.
during that.
Yeah, me too.
God, I
Almost.
To be honest. So I fell asleep during Saving Private Ryan.
Which I need to put on.
Indiana
We have to get through the
Jones.
When did
current
you?
wheel.
Oh, when you were watching it by yourself?
No, we did a
We've
Netflix
never.
party.
We've never watched Saving Private Ryan.
Patrick
And
and I did.
Netflix
Oh,
party.
you too.
Wait,
Well, I wasn't
he wasn't.
there, right?
Oh,
No,
I thought you were.
there.
No.
No.
That's why I didn't know about it.
Anyways, Malcolm, is there anything else about World War III
I
you
have a
wanted to get
question,
off my
though.
chest? Because
Yeah.
I could go about this
Do you
for
ever
days.
think about, or do you ever hear someone say something, and then think to yourself, okay, I want to write this down and maybe make this into an idea,
An idea for what?
like a show, a movie,
creative
a comic
endeavor.
book. Because when he said
Oh.
the whole thing of like, say the beginning of your dream again, it was something along the lines of like,
A bunch
Like,
of bombs dropping.
it was me, but it wasn't me, and it was all my friends, but it wasn't them. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we were like all movie characters that were ourselves, but we weren't ourselves.
You know what? You know
Yeah.
that concept you see in like TV shows, usually sitcoms. I find, and like even for kids, like I feel like when we're watching if you're watching like a what's it called? What's that one of Zach and Cody or like that kind of show? I feel like I've seen segments in shows like that or in sitcoms like How I Met Your Mother or something where it's like all of a sudden we're like it's a dream scenario and everyone's a movie character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It'll be like, oh, like all of a sudden it's like someone's having a dream and they're like all their friends are different characters from the movie they just watched or something like that. I feel like I've seen that many times before.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
familiar to me too.
Like it's like, oh, like Marshall's like Han Solo, and then like, oh, like this person's like whatever. Like, you know, it's just like some like weird alternate world type thing.
I think that's how. This is a kind of more personal and nerdy thing, but like I think that's how. There's definitely ideas I've had for like stories and shit that stem from things other people say. Sometimes it's like I'll sit around and think about something. It's like, oh, this would be a cool idea. But like the idea I had about the two like generation ships was just purely about hearing about like the math on it. I was just my PlayStation podcast I was listening to earlier. They just mentioned it as like a throwaway joke, but the idea of like the rapture happening, like a biblical rapture. Like that game, everybody's gone to the rapture, which is really cool. But there's been like media about the rapture and the idea that like, you know, the pilot on it got raptured, so a fucking plane falls out of the sky. And it's kind of like this end of days type thing for everybody left on Earth. And they were throwing it away as like a joke, but to me sounded like an interesting concept of like, what if the rapture happened, but only like 300 people went because the other like 8 billion were like considered like not worthy kind of thing. And it's like, what does that look like? But so nothing Malcolm specifically said, but there's definitely times where that
So we can't work with that idea.
maybe there's something there. You know what I heard, which is interesting? This is really off topic. I apologize, but just you guys might find interesting. Although it's sometimes you think you have an idea for something, and then you find out it already exists, and it's the most like deflating fucking feeling. It's like, oh, they fucking beat me to it. But somebody was talking about like an idea or like what they thought would be interesting in real life if there was like a way to scientifically prove like an afterlife.
Okay.
Not even like tying it to a certain religion, but just like, is there something after you die kind of thing? And like that, I was like, okay, that's an interesting idea. Afterlife, blah, blah, blah. And then they brought up this point that like, if that were true, there would be like hundreds of thousands, even millions of people who just like kill themselves just to like, fuck this. Like I'm going to the eternal whatever. And I'm like, that's a really interesting idea. And then sure enough, whatever I was watching this conversation talking about it, they're like, well, actually on Netflix, there's this movie called The Discovery, which is Marshall from How I Met Your Mother. I forget the actress in it. And then it's Robert Redford, I think. But the entire premise of the movie is Robert Redford's character proves scientifically there is an afterlife. And then like globally, there's like this mass like suicide movement of people basically being like, fuck this, I'd rather just go like cut to the chase kind of thing. I was like, haven't seen the movie yet. I would like to, but it's like, that's a really fucking interesting
And then
idea.
at the end of the movie, they were like, oh, you missed a plus.
You missed a what?
You missed an addition sign or something. Like you missed a math operation.
Yeah.
His numbers are
You forgot to
No.
carry the 6.
It's supposed to be a negative there.
And everybody's like, oh, and then it just cuts to Robert Redford looking straight down the barrel of the camera, close up. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And there's a really cartoony. It's like, dong.
And then the fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm outro plays.
God.
But anyways, cool. That was weird enough
all
topic.
I got.
But I
It was
apologize.
scary.
But thank you. World War III. Terrifying. Hope it doesn't happen. If
Suit
it
up.
does,
Suit up.
where are we dropping, boys?
Rusty Railroads. Is that a
That's
spot
definitely
on
not what it's
Warzone?
called.
Rusty.
I thought you were going to go for like, you know, Warsaw, like a real place.
Oh no, I was thinking of Warzone.
I thought you were
Verdansk.
Yeah, Verdansk. Let's go to
Where we-
Train yard.
Where are we dropping, fellas? Fucking
I'd like to liberate.
Belgium.
I'd like to liberate. I don't know why it would be, but I'd like to liberate Egypt first, if you guys don't mind. Could we land in Egypt? I don't know why they would be under siege or okay. Mark's
Imagine that. It was like you wake up tomorrow and there's like some news story and it's
I
like,
think it's at the bottom.
you know, it's on like CNN or whatever. It's
See
like
it?
Russia, could this be the start of World War III? Russia declares war on Egypt.
Oh god.
And and it just cuts to live footage and they have like troops on the ground like invading.
Wow,
Russia.
they've already
Russia
marched?
has
And then you're
nuked
like,
the
I have to get over there.
pyramids.
Russia gets what?
Russia has nuked the pyramids.
Great.
No!
What a waste of
Russia
what a
has-
waste of a nuke.
Russia has spray painted the pyramids to reflect the Russian flag.
The red, white, and blue
Red, white, and blue.
is going up the pyramids. So fucking
I just
stupid.
made the connection that the Russian flags have the same exact colors as the United States.
I know. It's a
Oh,
little,
yeah.
Red, white, and
It's a
blue.
little weird.
Wow, that's like really like
They're honestly,
poetic. Almost.
red, white, and blue is a beautiful color combination.
Mhm.
Some lady walked into the store the other day and she had a like really cool navy blue knitted sweater, and in the middle just had like a big United States flag, but it was like it was a really premium like knitted one. It
Yeah,
wasn't like
you-
some corny like cheap thing.
Yeah, you
And
paid
it
a
looked-
lot of attention.
I
to
kept
that
staring at her
area.
chest. No, it was honestly a really.
Can you tell me the thread by thread detail of the design?
Tell me anything else about her.
Tell me
It's like one of those.
anything
It's
else
like
about
one of those
What were the
videos
color
where
of her
some-
eyes?
Yeah, where like
Yeah.
some girls like sitting there in like a really revealing top or whatever. It's like, what color was the fucking
Yeah,
background
yeah,
behind
yeah,
it? It's like, oh, I didn't even notice. Anyways,
beautiful color combo. Anyway,
beautiful colors.
Was it cold in there?
World War III.
It was not actually might have been. That's what maybe she's wearing a sweater. So.
All right, let's talk about sports.
What?
What about it?
Call back to episode 1. We're just
Episode
gonna do.
one.
We're gonna do that again. No,
Really?
okay.
I would be,
No,
honestly.
I'm
I
kidding. I don't even remember what we talked about.
It was just sports.
It
The
was
topic.
sports. Oh yeah,
And we just did whatever we
could do
wanted
that in the
with it.
future, but that's not what I have planned for today.
Okay.
So, I want us to put our thinking. He's gonna go to sleep. He's gonna put himself to sleep. I want us to put our thinking caps on for a 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like fuck, marry, kill,
Okay.
but it's like a trio you need to think of. Okay.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone to think of a sport that they think is cool and they've always wanted to do.
Mm.
I want you guys to think of a sport that is stupid and you think is dumb.
Mm.
Okay. And I want you guys to think of a sport that you've always wanted to try and you think you could be good at.
The first one you said that we could. The first one sounded similar.
Oh, did I say? Sorry. One of the sports is something you like and you think you can do.
Mm-hmm.
One of the sports should be something you like but you think you could never do.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
I can go first while you guys.
So like and think I can do, like and think I can't do,
Yes.
and then a stupid sport.
And then it's some sport that you think is stupid.
Like
Okay.
and can, like and can't. Stupid.
Stupid.
And stupid. Yeah. So for me, what should I start with for myself? What should
Are
I
we gonna
pick?
go around, or are we just gonna go all three?
I'll also just say all three while you guys think about it. I mean, unless you guys have already stuff
I think
come
I've
to your
got some
mind.
options,
Yeah.
but go ahead. Take it wherever you see fit.
Okay, let me start with what I think is stupid to reveal my ignorance right off the bat. Bobsledding.
Interesting.
I've never understood it. I don't know the appeal. I've never even. I can't even put myself in someone's shoes. Someone sitting down watching the Winter Olympics, seeing the bobsled event come on, and not turn off the TV. I can't imagine. Like, what is? And I just don't understand what's entertaining.
Is there any
It's-
technique to it, or you just?
Is there?
I think there
Again, my
definitely
ignorance
has-
coming out.
It's definitely a sport I'm like super ignorant on.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily get the
Just so we're on the
appeal.
same page. Just so we're on the same page. It's the one where 3 people go into a sled, right?
Yeah.
It's like
they're
a
just
multiple person bobsled.
right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, but they're like shooting down
and they're
the
shooting
tubes
down
and
the
stuff.
thing, and I think it's just straight.
like
To
cool,
me,
like
the
cool
only-
running.
it's not
Straight
just
shot.
Exactly.
It's
like
like
cool
it's like
runnings.
straight, and then it's like literally a sideways wall.
Yeah.
And what's scary is like the bottom of the bobsled is like they're like skates, and it's,
Yeah.
it's just complete ice.
That to me is the only interesting thing
It's
about
probably
bobsledding.
insane.
Of, like,
That's
It's probably
how
super
scary.
impressive.
That's the only thing that's the interesting thing to me about it is purely the danger of like how fast those fucking guys are going because they're like a bullet going down and like how badly I'm sure there's like I've seen some, but I'm sure there's like bad crashes of like people fucking up a turn and just going like right over the
Some
wall.
guy died like by like hitting a pole going so fast.
Yeah. Put it this way, you know when you're on like a water slide at a park every once in a while?
Yeah.
At like a Canada's Wonderland or something, and you go down a water slide and you take one of those turns just a little too sharp, and you have that slight feeling of like
falling up the
going
slide.
like, sideways, meaning like I almost just went over the wall. Imagine that, but like now you're in a rocket on skates kind of thing. So there's that little like element to it, but everything else I'm kind of like
Also, don't
Whatever.
you guys feel like they look kind of stupid?
Yeah,
Like
like,
the
like
setup
the
of, like, the
skin tight,
helmet,
yeah,
like,
the
skin
skin tight
tight.
suits and like the fucking not the stormtrooper. What's the other?
trying to
Almost
be
like the rebel.
aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the New Hope
but it's
Rebel
like a
helmets.
Don't they have like a visor
Yeah.
too?
I
though?
think it goes down, but yeah,
Yeah.
I just every time I see that like long thing, I think of the fucking rebel guys in A New
Yeah.
Hope.
no
right at the
one, no one's
beginning.
ever like that. Looks badass.
It just feels
one ever
like
thinks that.
it just feels like whenever you have a bobsledding event on that you're watching some sort of like bad spin-off sci-fi thing.
I
you know?
honestly don't. I honestly don't think I've ever just been around and bobsledding is just playing. I don't think I've ever been
Right?
in that situation.
I yeah. I don't know.
Honestly, I think I've seen it, and like I'm not as against it as you are. Like I
Listen,
I see the helmets. I'm like I get it, aerodynamicy. Like they're going fast. It's like it's crazy.
yeah. I guess I should look into it a little bit. And then
bobsledding.
I'm sure if I looked into it, I'd be like, yes, these guys are obviously clearly talented. They're at the Olympics.
For stupid sports, there's like sports that don't interest me or that I'm not necessarily into. A bobsledding being a good example, but there aren't that many that I find dumb.
You're
in
gonna, I know you're gonna
quotes.
say the same shit as I am.
But one that I was gonna toss out, and I feel like this is kind of a cheap answer, but like every time, and sometimes I see the reels where it's like the like slap sport thing.
Oh, power
Where
slide.
it's just
Oh.
like the two fucking like it's always
Yeah.
this two big like
Yeah.
Beefy
heavy
dudes,
fucking
yeah.
bearded dudes and just
Yeah.
smacking the shit out of each other. And I'm like, that's not
It's
Wait,
not
I have a
like
interesting.
that's barely even a sport. Like
Yeah.
I don't care about. Even though I know you guys are more into it, I could give less of a shit about UFC, for example, but I can watch UFC as a sport enjoyer. To call back to topic one and be like, I understand the training, I understand all the like tactics and the mental shit and the physical shit that all goes into it. I can understand why people like this. Like I can understand everything about it, even though to me personally, I'm like, does nothing for me. But the slap fight thing, I'm like,
I have a question.
all you have to do is just what? pump one arm real good so that you can just beat the fuck out of some guy? Like, I don't even get the point.
What I want to know is, why do I feel like every time that's on, I see someone having chalk on their hand? Why do they have chalk on their hands?
I think
I
it's-
assume so that prevents the
slip.
other person from getting like even more fucked up than they probably
no,
already
I think
are.
I thought it was, I think I'm assuming it's probably to make sure that the
So they don't
impact is
slip.
blunt as opposed to like kind of his face is wet, so I slipped off his face a
Okay,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. That makes
Uh,
more sense than what Matty said.
But also, it's like
Okay.
to me, slap fighting is dumb because any grown man who's kind of heavy, like if you open palm strike someone as hard as you can, like they're gonna probably get knocked out.
Yeah.
And there's not
Like, 9
even
times
like
out of 10.
if you're there, it's guaranteed you're getting hit. So
Yeah.
all it is like, can you just take one real good hit?
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
not like in no other sport, you don't go into like a hockey game
Let
or a
someone hit you,
basketball
yeah.
game or a baseball
gotta
game where
interrupt.
it's like,
What
I'm
if
going to
you're-
guaranteed get scored on.
Yeah.
What if you're the person that's getting slapped first and you didn't get the
Exactly.
chance to slap back?
Yeah. And honestly,
Yeah, how does
your
that
defense
work?
game
Yeah.
gotta
They have
be
to like
good.
revive you and then be like, all right, it's your turn now, and you have to fucking get up there like
but
half conscious.
If you get based on what I've seen on clips online, if you get knocked out, you're done. Like
You're
it's
done,
done.
yeah.
But like they won't try to be like, all right, get up. Like even if you're not out cold, if you get slapped, they literally, I swear to God, this is what they do. They go, all right, stand up. Like if you get wobbled, they're like, let's see if he's able to stand.
Yeah.
So then the guy will be like, take a step back, and then he'll start falling, and they'll grab him, and they'll be like, that's it.
Done. Yeah. Honestly, thinking about this topic, the slap UFC, what's it called? Slap
Power
FC?
slap. Power slap. Yeah.
The power slap.
You know what Dana White said?
What did Dana White say?
Dana White said that the Power Slap League that he has, that he owned and he created,
Yeah, it's making
On
him bank, isn't
no,
it?
he said on social media, their views are greater than that of the NBA, the NFL, the UFC,
Yeah.
and the MLB combined.
Probably because it
for
is
sure
so stupid
angry.
and
There's
people are
no
like, look at
way
this dumb
that
shit.
there's no way that's true.
That makes me
Their
so
view-
angry.
on social media, their views are greater than all those major sports.
I don't believe
There's
that.
no
That's
way.
crazy.
But I honestly think
Yeah.
that sport grew from like even Dana White talks about it. It was like a TikTok thing, or on social media you'd see these Russian slap leagues, and the video would have 500 million views, something crazy.
Yeah.
So he was like, "There's something here. Like a lot of people like that. It's just
Yeah.
like it's basically the carnal kind of like I want to see someone get hurt that the MMA provides,
Yeah.
except like for people who like have a short attention span, they just want to see something quick.
Yeah, true.
You know?
But yeah, in thinking about this topic, I never, ever, ever thought to use
Mm.
that as my dumb sport because I don't even consider it a sport.
And it's definitely dumber than sledding, than bobsled.
Oh, for sure.
1000%.
100%.
I would go with the slap fight, but I would just really like to quickly add on. I know this isn't the category you asked for, but almost like the antithesis of this is something that I think is really cool. And it's not, I don't think I could or couldn't kind of thing. It's just kind of like an antithesis. The fucking nerds who do the robot fights
Oh, like the.
fucking love that shit.
Okay.
When they come out with the robots
cool.
they build where it's like, ours has a fucking flamethrower. And then the other guys come out with like some tiny little shit looking
Buzzsaw.
thing.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, how is the tiny little shit thing ever going to be the thing with
It
the
flips
fucking
it?
like flame? But then because they've got like the math down and all it has is just like the slightest little
Scooper
edge
thing?
or
Yeah.
ramp on it so that they can just get under it and tip it over and the other thing's fucked. Love that shit. Malcolm, go on. Dumb sports.
My stupid sport is it's played in Australia and it's called netball.
Mm.
It's
Is it the one I sent you?
I think it might be. It's
The one you just it's
I
like
see it
basketball,
all the
but-
time. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
It's literally just basketball, no backboard. Once you get into like the into the paint, you can't move and you have to shoot.
Oh, I did. I
And
did.
the other girls can't move either.
Yeah.
So once you're in there and you have the ball, everyone's kind of like just like doing this to stop you from shooting, and you just have to stop. You have as much time as
Yep.
as much time as you want, and then you just shoot. And
Dude,
it has to
wait,
be a
you
switch.
can't
Matty,
move?
Matty, can you pull up your Instagram?
Yeah,
I'm
can
gonna
I-
send you the video. I'm gonna send you a video of this.
Sorry.
I want to
Making
see a
noise over
video
here,
on the big
sorry.
screen here.
Uh,
You can't move
I sent
and the enemy team can't move.
Yes, I sent you.
Yeah.
I
Well,
sent
then
It's the
what the
stupidest looking sport I've ever
sent
seen.
you the
and,
vi-
and it pisses me off
I
to
did-
see it.
I sent this video to Malcolm earlier this week because it's supposed to be like, oh, like look at this badass edit of like how dope this sport is and how much work is put into it.
Yeah.
And all the comments are like shitting on it. Here we go. It says you're so lucky that you're good at netball. But wait for the beginning of the video again. Look what's happening there.
I mean, listen, no
You can't
disrespect.
even defend. Everyone's just waiting for her to shoot.
No
The
disrespect
girl
to
was
that
literally
woman.
she was doing this.
Like, that's gonna stop it.
No disrespect to that woman, that athlete, but yeah, that's kind of the dumbest looking thing. Where it's like, hey, basketball, but like imagine if everybody had to stand still when you got like within shooting range.
That's,
Um,
that's crazy.
I want to move. Oh wait, Mark, you haven't done your stupid.
No,
one,
I
right?
haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
actually skipped me.
We did, yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna do curling. I think curling is kind of silly.
I thought someone would say
I don't
curling.
think- here's the
Curling,
thing,
I disagree with.
I think I would honestly be curious to watch a game of curling and see
Yeah.
how it goes. And I feel like during the Winter Olympics, I've had it on the TV at some point, and I'll watch like 10 seconds of it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and then it's just a bunch of people sweeping.
Honestly,
Yeah.
sometimes
And it's like it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's like this is really boring, and I don't think this gets many views.
sometimes I can get pretty into curling. Like,
Really?
I think it's fun to watch, and when I think about it, I'm like, I can enjoy playing this.
I think
Like,
I'd have fun
sliding
playing
that
it.
and like trying to get it into the middle.
I think I'd have fun playing it, but I think it's kind of a silly sport
Can
to
I
call it
t-
a sport.
Can I tell you why Malcolm has fun watching it sometimes?
Why?
Hand to God, I guarantee you this is true. He had money on the curling.
Money?
He got money on it.
He went on sports betting.
You went on sports betting.
That's not even close to true.
Look me in the eye and say it's not true.
I don't have a betting app.
Okay.
Can I just
was
jump?
gonna
Can
say something way more inappropriate.
I double?
than that.
Can I just double down and do my next thing?
Yeah, go for it.
I
I was
think-
just gonna say the curling real quick before you
Yeah.
move on. The only reason I would disagree with curling and why I like curling, not that I fucking actively watch it or play it or anything like
Have
that.
you ever watched it?
But it invokes the same, yes, it invokes the same enjoyment in me that bowling does. Because I find there's like not exact, but there's enough similarities there of like trying to throw this thing in such a way that you like nail that shot. And when you see the really good shots of like, oh, this guy got the rock like right on the fucking money.
But you know
or
what-
you see the ones where it's like the enemy team's got like, 3 rocks in close and like the red team's like way outside and the guy throws the like perfect thing that knocks like, one of the yellow ones out and into the second yellow one. So now like 2 yellow ones are out and now they're like, there's enough there that I'm like,
But
I
to
can
me,
get down.
To me, it feels more like a mini game than it does a sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't think it's like an official sport,
Yeah.
like slap fighting. It's kind of, to me, it seems a little silly to be like, this is an official sport and it's gonna be in the Olympics.
Like it's,
Like
it's
people are winning medals on this shit, and it's
Yeah.
like you're playing cornhole or something. Like it's impressive to that you slid it and made it stop right there.
Yeah.
But you know what else is impressive?
Yeah.
When you beer pong a ping pong into the
Into the
Well,
cup,
I was
yeah.
going to say to that
Yeah.
point, I feel like there's a similar argument you could make even against something like darts, where it's like people would
But I
talk
think
about
darts is way more hard to do. I think darts is. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like darts is like way harder to aim on that tiny little.
But I think
board.
it's a similar idea of like
Sure.
what the sports are kind of going for. So to me, it's like darts, curling, bowling. Like I kind of lump them into like a very specific niche of sports that I can get down. Even pool to some extent. And I fucking love pool.
billiards. You're saying?
Yeah, like
billiards.
Even
Okay.
that, I kind of lump in that similar thing of like, I can get down with this.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the? It's popped up on my page a few times now, where it's like POV, like you take a girl bowling on your first date, and it's like this guy doing all these crazy trick
Yeah,
shots,
striking it every time.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just makes me laugh so hard. Of like, anyways, go on. Your next thing.
And I was gonna say one sport I really want to. I think I would like love, but it wouldn't be good at is hockey because I can't skate.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been loving watching the playoffs, and I feel like I want to do it so bad, but I just don't. I don't got the skating skills, but I feel like it would be fun to play like field hockey or whatever, or with the like or whatever the road hockey or
Yeah,
whatever.
even just like street
hockey
hockey
or,
and
like,
shit.
Yeah.
But the opposite of Mark is one that I like and think I would be good at
Yeah.
is hockey.
Oh wow.
Like ice hockey.
Ice hockey. I mean, I'm not the greatest skater. Like my stopping's not great, and I'm not confident in it, and it scares me because I feel like I'm gonna hit an edge and then.
Remember that one time where like you tried stopping? Like I remember we were playing hockey and you went maybe to score a goal or something, and then I turned around and I looked back and you were like on the floor and I was like, what the hell happened? And you're like, oh, I like caught an edge or something.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like I have like decent stick handling skills, and like,
Yeah.
if I worked a bit at it, maybe I'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a little less freaky once you're actually like if you were actually playing it in equipment. Bless you. Blesses in like equipment, because then is there a third?
Bless
There
you.
is. If there's a fourth, I'll strike you.
I'm good.
Because like when you're wearing shin pads and elbow pads and the chest pads and gloves and like the pants, not like when you feel a little bit more armored up, it's a little less. You're less
Honestly-
in your head about like eating shit because if you do, you've got like
Yeah,
protection.
because I don't know how to skate that well. I feel like I'd rather learn how to skate that way, just like having a helmet and a bunch of other shit, so that I'm not afraid to fall and I can actually like learn. Because if I'm afraid to fall the whole time, I'm not gonna push it to the point where I'm learning how to control
Yeah.
myself.
I mean, even now, not that I'm some fucking pro skater, but obviously I can skate. But even like if we go, to some public skate or anything like us kind of thing, I definitely have that self-awareness to be like, hey, I can skate around and whatever, blah blah blah, but like I'm not gonna like do anything too stupid or try and take like the sharpest turn or any of that shit. Because even I have that like thing of like really don't want to like wipe out and fucking bust an ankle or bust a knee or something on the ice because that will not be fun.
Dude, have you seen those videos of those hockey players that like keep the puck stuck to their stick and they're like flipping it and doing all this crazy shit with it? It's so crazy.
That's so
shit's
cool.
wild.
I don't know how hockey players have the courage to just eat slap shots or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like when it's barreling out, you want to cower, right?
That's what I would cower every single
Me
time,
too,
and
yeah.
especially because the out rink, the players that aren't the goalie don't have something protecting their mouth.
Oh, wow.
So if that goes right at you in the face, you're done. You're cooked.
I don't
What
know
are
if
you
you
gonna
guys,
do?
I don't know if you guys knew this, but my grandpa has fake teeth because of that.
Really? Because
Yeah.
you got cooked?
He got cooked.
Oh God.
Well, you see that in the NHL even too sometimes where like somebody takes like a slap shot or a wrist shot to the mouth, or even there's been times where it just like
How do you get up after
like
that?
it's not even that it hits them right away, but it like tips
deflects,
off a
yeah.
stick,
Yeah.
and then like it's there. I've seen it happen before, and then you see the guys like
Teeth?
skating to the ice and like the little pool of blood following them to the ice. And my dad, I forget, it was a clip from like a few years ago, but there was a clip where it was either somebody took like a puck or got hit, or I don't know what it was, but it was like some NHL guy in the game like had gotten hit in the mouth or something, and is literally like sitting on the bench like popping out like 2 or 3 teeth and handing them to like the trainer, and then like sits there with the ice, like they miss a shift or two, and then like 2 shifts later they're like right back on the fucking ice.
Do you understand how like weak I'm a soccer player, okay? I've taken the worst hit I've ever taken was an indoor game and it was a corner. Some guy played it outside the box and I promised the Lord, my God, this man who hit me hit the cleanest volley I will ever see in my life. He was set up and then made the
Clean
the
contact.
best contact I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Snap of 2 fingers, I'm on the floor. I don't even remember seeing the ball
Hit you
hit
in the
me.
nose?
It hit me in the mouth. But I remember getting up, I was like dazed. I was like, I thought I had a concussion. If I got hit by a puck of like the best form you'll ever
Slap shot?
see.
Oh, yeah. It's going through. It's going inside of your mouth and coming out of the
And
back. Of your
exactly.
Even baseball's like that. I just saw some video on Instagram
Oh,
talking
God.
about how like they were saying the hardest thing to do, arguably, well, they were trying to basically say mathematically the
Hit a
hardest thing to
fastball?
do in any sport
Okay.
is hit a baseball. Not fucking get a home run, like just even making contact with it. Because they were breaking down the math of like, from the time the pitcher goes from like has it, wind up, release, they're like, that's like, 400 milliseconds or whatever the fuck it is. The amount of time it takes your like brain, the information to get from your eyes to your brain, that this thing is even coming at you is like a handful of milliseconds. It's coming at you, 90 miles an hour kind of thing. And they're like, you're this far from the plate, from the pitcher. And they broke it down or whatever, where they're like, you have a window of like 7 to 10 milliseconds to like connect with that fucking thing. So even that's a thing that like that hockey too, but because I know what you're saying about the NHL guys, where a lot of them just wear the like screen that only goes half their face. But like when I was playing as a kid and shit, everybody wore the cage. So like your face is protected, and even some people would wear the glass, but it would go all the way down, like to
That
the bottom
sounds like
of
a
the helmet.
recipe for disaster.
Why?
Glass?
Not glass, but like whatever plastic.
The plexi.
Yeah,
Oh,
whatever
okay,
like
okay.
plexiglass plastic thing that the NHL guys use. It was that, but it just continued all the way down,
Okay.
so that
Why do they not do that for the NHL?
I don't know.
Why are their mouths
They're
exposed?
cool.
I've never gotten that of like why that isn't like more of a mandatory
wear 'em?
thing, or
They
why
wear-
some people don't.
They wear mouth guards, but that doesn't really do much. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking weird. But
If that hits your jaw, you're shattering your jaw.
right,
It's
that was
so
always my
scary.
concern. But so at least with hockey, I always again having all that equipment, I was like, I get it. But I've like seen MLB games, and they get like a ball or whatever, and they get to go to first base. But when you see a pitcher like nail a fucking batter with a ball sometimes, and they just get up like they
Yeah.
do that like they've been shot, like if it hits them in like the side or the hip or whatever, they do that like I've been shot reaction. I'm like, how bad that must fucking hurt to have that tiny little fucking hard ball launched at you 90 miles an hour and you're not wearing any padding. Like that must sting so fucking bad.
Yeah.
God, I hate that. Should I? So you did one that you think you'd be good at. I'll go back to one I don't think I'd be good at. I have 2 actually for this. So one is a sport I think is cool, but I don't think I'd be good at. Fencing. I think
Oh,
is
that's cool.
And I just don't think I have the hand-eye coordination to be even remotely good at it. And then
No, I think it just went off now.
And then the other one, UFC.
MMA?
I think is cool, MMA, but I don't think one hit. I'm like that's lights out.
Why do you not think you'd be good at MMA?
Because one hit and I'd be lights out.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but if you're defensively sound, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I also think that you have a good body type for it. I think that you're lanky.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to cut weight and go down to like 155 or something, and be like you'd have like really good reach and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you might be good at it. Could be.
Okay.
A sport. Well, two sports that I don't think I'd ever really be good at. One I don't give a shit about, and one I do. Just cards on the table. God didn't put me on this earth to play basketball. Not happening. But the other one that I don't give a shit about because I don't really care about basketball. But a sport that I enjoy that I wish I could do, but I don't think I'd be any good at is football. American football.
I'm gonna put it back into the thing.
Because
not European.
I like soccer's whatever. I like American football a lot. It's just that is also a sport that is not really built for scrawny short guys.
Whoa,
Are you
Matty.
fast?
That's the one thing. The only thing I think I ever would have been all right at in football is maybe being like a wide receiver or some shit. Because I definitely do
catch?
not have the fucking arm to be like a quarterback or any of that shit. And I definitely would have been, one of the big fucking guys protecting the quarterback or either trying to kill the quarterback. Couldn't have been me. But I think if I had actually as a kid played it, in like some local league or some shit like that, I think there's a reality that exists. Mm-hmm. There's an alternate universe Matty out there somewhere who I
jacked.
think not even that, but I just
fast.
think might have made an all right
Handsome.
wide receiver. Handsome might have made an all right wide receiver of listen, fucking 10 hut, get it to the quarterback, and I'm gone kind of thing. I'll take off, and because
You're the
I'm,
guy passing it to the quarterback too.
because I could have snapped the ball. But my dad used to do that. He always talks
Really?
when he played high school football. My dad's like, yeah, I was the guy that would snap the ball to the quarterback
okay.
and then just get fucking dogpiled by
Oh,
a bunch of guys trying to then kill the quarterback who had to get through me. But no, I think if you put me in the position of throw it to the quarterback and all I have to do is just start bolting and then get open into a position where I can get it and go kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought you were gonna say running back.
Maybe.
Are you fast enough for that, you think?
Yeah, you have to be really quick for that.
You're not?
That not so much. That I don't know. But we'll see. So football's one that I just am not built for, especially now.
You like watching football?
Yes.
You know what I like about football? I like the strategy involved in football.
Here's my thing.
Of the fucking the plays of this player's gonna run here and then switch
Yes.
to diagonal and then or we're gonna do a pass off play where they they pretend to throw but then they pass it off.
Yeah.
I kind of like how the different and then also how the team defensively reacts is gonna change how your next offense is gonna go. Whether you want to double down on the same technique and then they think you're gonna change it up and you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know who'd be a
I-
cool guest to have? Liam Dick.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Liam Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could I think we should bring him in one time just to talk about college football
Yeah.
because he played for University of
Pitt.
Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and Texas State. So.
I was watching a documentary on how tough it is to actually make it onto the first team in the NFL, even after you get drafted or anything and go through all the preseason stuff. Because what a lot of the guys can't do is memorize the super thick book of plays they have, and you have to know each and every name and what it means and who has to go where. And when I think about it, I'm I don't think that I could memorize this book of plays and be able to do that all in a couple months before in preseason.
And
That
then
makes
be
sense.
able to do it when called upon.
That makes sense that you have to memorize it though, because if the coach is gonna be we're gonna run the inverted dragon, you're gonna be
pussycat.
like, what the fuck is that?
the inverted dragon.
Yeah.
Pussycat.
And I love the. I mean, speaking of sketch, you talk about sketch.
Yeah.
I feel like he does this thing where he I don't know what they're called, if they're called call outs or if he does the audibles. They call them audibles, where it's they'll yell out I don't know who it is.
Blue 42.
Yeah, they'll yell out
Yeah.
different codes for shit.
Yeah.
But when every time there's a video of the streamer named Sketch, he's playing the NFL Madden game. He's yelling out audibles that are made up. I'd be like, Rebecca's hot, Rebecca's hot. And I'd be like, 42, cancel, Rebecca's hot.
What are the odds they would make an audible because of him?
Yeah, right? That'd be great.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Matt-
That's always been my thing with the NFL is I like watching the NFL
Can I ask you a
so
question?
much.
From-
Please.
Not a.
We
not a-
keep interrupting.
Not a place of interrogation
Please.
or gotcha or anything.
Hmm.
When was the last time you watched an NFL game?
The last time
Yeah.
would have been the Super Bowl.
Okay. This year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, the most recent. My biggest problem with the NFL, honestly, is just
The ads.
It's just not having a like horse in the race. Because that's always, I know, like,
Get a horse.
to me, it's just like everybody here in Canada who likes the NFL, they all have like different reasons
Well, everyone goes for the Bills.
why they like teams. I guess some people default to the Bills because that's
Closest
like closest.
geographically, yeah.
But to me, like, it just got announced that Toronto's getting a
WNBA.
WNBA team,
Who gives a fuck?
which I'm like, good. I'm like, okay. Not that I personally give a shit about the WNBA, but I'm like, to anybody that does,
Do they?
that
all 7 of you.
also the numbers speak of themselves. But at least to the people that care, it's like, okay, now at least you have a horse in the race. The same way I imagine that, like, in the, I want to say the 90s, if I'm getting my dates right, when the MLB was like, hey, we're doing like the Toronto Blue Jays. What a like, or even the fucking Raptors. What a like bastion that must have been for like people all over Canada to be like, oh my God, finally we have the Jays.
But there's, like,
oh my
no-
God, finally
Yeah,
we have
but the thing
the
is,
Raptors.
There's like
we
no
The problem with the
Canadian
NFL is it's
There's no
all
Canadian football teams.
American teams. So
Yeah.
there's a part, and I get that some people would say like, "Well, just watch the Argos and like the CFL." And it's like, sure, fine. That's not like that's a completely fair argument that I don't even really have like a response to why I wouldn't. But to me, it's just like the idea of like having, if just Toronto, even if it wasn't Toronto, I would be like the people who in like Vancouver who are diehard Jays fan just because it's the only Canadian team. If they came out and was like, Vancouver is getting an NFL team,
Well-
I'd be like, all fucking day, I'm Vancouver,
Wait.
let's go kind of thing.
Wait, why do you think it would be a good idea for the NFL to buy the CFL and just absorb them?
I think it would.
I don't think they ever would, just because I don't think like,
You don't need it.
because the problem with the CFL is, there's like Toronto and Montreal, but then there's other things where it's like, Winnipeg. Like there's more, there's these smaller markets that are more specifically like Canadian, I guess, for lack of a better term. So it's like, why does the NFL need to absorb that?
But
Whereas
you
to
don't
me,
think
it's
it would
just
be like you don't think it would be an explosion of like people would start going, because I don't know I know it's like popular here like the CFL, but if it became the NFL, I think people would go crazy.
I think it would become
For
a lot
sure.
bigger, but I don't know to what extent.
Yeah.
There's also a thing of they'd have to figure out the rules because the CFL is slightly different rules than the NFL in terms of how they
Just
play.
scrap it all.
But no, but that's my thing, is that is like a legit desire of mine where I'm like, please, NFL, branch out and just give us like a Toronto NFL team, and then I'm fucking
So
in.
you would rather them branch out and then take money away from the CFL than them absorb the CFL? You'd rather them cripple the CFL?
I don't think it would. I don't think it would cripple the CFL.
You don't think so?
I mean, listen, if that's the only means by which I can get a Canadian NFL team of like, we've absorbed the CFL, or like we're partnering with them and like are allowing their teams into the league now, I'll take it. And then I have, to me, a slightly more compelling reason to like cheer for the Argos and whatever. Because like I was saying, I like football a lot. To Mark's point, it always frustrates me when people are like, football's boring and blah 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 blah. And I have said that in a disparaging way, making fun of you guys in soccer, I'm sure, over the years of like, oh, soccer's boring or whatever. But it's like, you don't fucking know what you're talking about if you're like, soccer's boring. And that's what's always frustrated me about football, where it's like, football's boring. It's like so much stopping and starting and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but that's why I find it so interesting, because it's like the only sport that has like constant, to me, I compare it to a board game like Risk or something, or even it reminds me a lot of people have made this comparison with like the Madden games, where it feels almost like a turn-based game, less than the thing of like, we go, then you go, then we go, then you go, but more in the thing of like, okay, here's your play, you do it, we see how it plays out, we evaluate, adjust, plan. Like, to me, that like level of intricacy and the strategy, no sports really have that in like the same way, at least that I can think of.
I mean, I think every sport has that to a degree, but not to the degree of like, we're gonna fucking bust out the play. Like, I don't know, it's not like as in depth.
Yeah.
But I know, like, and obviously in like, let's say soccer, for example, like if it's not going well, you might change up your formation, or you might change the way you attack.
Yeah, and you're running plays, and you're like doing, maybe you sub out a couple players, and you're like, it's more on the fly kind of
open
thing.
play.
Yeah.
Whereas like I like in football the whole like, here's the strategy, here's what we're going with, like acting on it, and I just like this like very Risk, almost warlike thing of like, it is a game of like inches and yards and like trying to like gain ground and make up ground. It's like, oh, we got the first yard, perfect, and then gain more and make up ground and then get your fucking touchdown. Like there's just It's very deep.
I feel like it must be really fun to watch. And I wish I had it. I wish I was like I'm really into the NFL. It'd be cool.
I just wish I had a horse in the race.
Before I get into my next one, did you guys know that the NBA funds the WNBA?
Yes.
That would sound.
They
I-
subsidize-
The only reason
they
the
subsidize it.
WNBA is a thing is because the NBA said we're gonna make this the thing.
Oh, they
Interesting.
started it?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know.
they gave the money so
Interesting.
that they can start it.
Oh, wow.
I
There
did
you
not
go.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have we not talked about yet? Sports that I.
Well, we kind of flip-flopped, all of us.
oh,
Like,
I
we
haven't said a
different
sport that I
things.
like that I think I'd be good
Me
at.
neither.
Have you said one that you don't think you'd be good at? Football?
Football would
Okay,
probably be the main one.
So what's the one you'd be good at?
I have kind of two answers for this. Both would obviously require a certain amount of like training and discipline or whatever.
Yeah.
But one of them, straight up, not a joke, esports.
Oh.
Not necessarily like, I don't know if I would ever trust myself with a fighting game because I see some of the shit that like we've even talked about on the show before where I see some people just doing fucking wizardry and it's like, I would get intimidated because I'm also very set in my ways of like, I don't want a mouse and keyboard, for example. I always want a controller. But the second I was at a fighting game tournament and I see the guy fucking walk up with like the portable arcade thing where it's just like the 2 rows of 3 buttons and the joystick, it's like, oh, all right, well, this guy's going to fucking, I'll pack my lunch now kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
You
legit,
wouldn't play Overwatch either, right? You're not good enough for that either, right?
fuck you. To my point, that's the thing where it's like I think about it more in the sense of like shooters and shit like that, where there is a part of me, and I'm sure many arrogant gamers have similar thoughts, but I've definitely had the thought of like, I wonder if you put me in like an Overwatch league, if you put me in a few games on like Toronto's team, like could I keep up with some of these motherfuckers? Could I like
Now, no way any of us could ever keep up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you like,
maybe if I was more in my prime,
question-
like mid-COVID when we were doing like 8
Yeah.
hours a day of Overwatch,
Wow.
maybe then.
But my question, I thought the question you were gonna say, because I think there's actually a compelling, interesting conversation to be like, oh, what if I like took training seriously and became a full-time esports player? Could I eventually get to that point? I think probably. But I think like if you were throwing it now, I think any of us throwing it now would be fucked completely.
to me, it'd be
the-
more
even
thing
just
of
the
right now,
basic-
would I be even like competitive?
Well, but the thing is, I feel like the strategy part of it is what we'd be like not lined up with. Like even if you have the basic skills down, they'd be like, "Oh, why are you not going this way when we're going this way?" Like you should know how to just do. Like I feel like there's a bunch of shit they just know how to do because they've practiced a million times to do it. You know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like I thought the question you were gonna ask is like, if I committed to this, could I do it? And I think maybe could do it.
Esports is definitely my like honest answer of I think there's an argument that I could maybe pull it off.
Yeah.
The one that's definitely more like I think it, but would definitely require training and playing way more than I do. But pool is another one when I think about it, where I'm like, if I really sat down and did nothing but do like, pool for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week kind of thing, like
I thought you were gonna say swimming.
maybe, but I was never that like I can swim and I'm
he knows
perfectly
it too.
fine, but that's more like the cardio and physical stuff that I would have to train long and hard for that like
Yeah.
right now I don't have kind of thing. And
Form's-
it's not that I
form's
have
also not there.
it's not form's also not there. And it's not
No,
that I have like
there's not much there.
it's not that I have pool right now because I play pool maybe 2 times a month if I'm lucky. But like
Huh?
With
2
who?
times a month you play
With
pool?
who do you go play?
You
pool?
play pool 2 times a month.
Matty, I haven't played.
maybe even less than that. I'm
Dude.
thinking of like the past couple times when we've been to like Pamoose in his basement.
I haven't
playing pool or
I
like
haven't-
something like that.
I haven't played pool in over a year. So I don't know. I was gonna ask, where the fuck are you playing?
I think an average would be like if I'm lucky once a month,
Okay.
if
So
that
an
even.
Okay. So
you
an
don't
average
play
would be less than 1 a month.
So long story short,
So you've played pool.
yeah. Long story short, would I actually be good at pool? Really? I don't know. Like that's my kind of less honest.
Yeah.
What I like to be.
Honestly,
I think mine's similar because I don't think I would be good. It depends on what we mean by good. Like professional good. I don't think I'd be professional good at any. Go ahead, take a moment. We'll be right back. We're gonna keep it right here. Dude, I've been watching so much of that Dr. Phil guy. I fucking
my God.
can't stop. But yeah, I feel like there's no sport that I would actually be professionally good at. To be completely honest, I don't think I'm athletic enough. But I think one that I would like to be good at, and I feel like if I was just athletically, maybe if I got into like crazy shape or something, I'd like to think I would like maybe do some MMA training. That'd be cool. Because I have so much interest in MMA and I've been watching it for so many years, and the amount of fights I've watched is crazy. Like every week almost I watch like every single fight.
Yeah.
So I feel like I pay attention to what the commentators are saying, and I'm like, really locked into. I listen to MMA podcasts all the time. So in terms of like the information side of things, I feel like I know a lot. It's just like I'm not in good shape and I don't have the cardio, you know. So I feel like it would be interesting to like. I kind of wanted to try, you know, getting into certain aspects of MMA.
Yeah.
And I think if the kind of like the being in good shape part came into it, I already have a lot of information that I've learned from like a lot of these podcasts and shit. And yeah, that'd be cool.
I know I already said what I would be bad at, but
Yeah.
Matty bringing esports up,
Yeah.
I know for a fact I could never ever do.
Oh no.
I don't know what it is with me trying to aim,
Yeah, you're not quite-
whether it's Overwatch,
quite locking in.
Warzone, or anything.
Yeah.
I found myself sometimes sitting in front of the screen, and then like when it comes time to aim,
Yeah.
I lose focus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where if
Yeah.
like, okay, I want to hit Roadhog,
Yeah.
but like my focus is spread.
Let's play
now.
Overwatch tonight.
Even
makes
that
sense.
though, but I get what you're saying. But even that, I
I,
look
did,
at
I
it.
didn't always used to be like that though, because I used to in grade 6 MW3 every single day of that summer I was on MW3 and I was doing the quick scope, like not full, you know what I'm saying, like the
Yeah.
quick scope on MW3
the
live lobbies.
Bam.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
skills-
and I was decent. I'm not saying I was great,
You
but
know
I was
why?
decent
it's
at
because,
it.
it's because you were in form. You were practicing every single day. We don't
Yeah.
play Overwatch every single night for hours and hours and hours and hours. Like you're not.
That's what I'm saying. Like if
you
it was
just,
like
you just don't. You
peak,
either got it or you don't, and you know.
and I don't.
peak COVID times when it was like all day, every day
Dude, that was
Overwatch,
fun times, huh?
I
That was so
guarantee
good. He
you,
wasn't in
like
on that. He was doing Fortnite with ZJ and
this
Michael
was pre,
Scarfone.
This was pre Malcolm playing Overwatch, but I feel like that was the probably like the best at Overwatch I ever was in my life. But even at that point, there's also that added thing of like you bringing up the aiming thing, where it's like all the competitive people are using mouse and keyboard, which I will never, ever,
Yeah, me
ever,
neither.
ever do. Even though I know it's objectively
Better for
for aiming to use the mouse, it will never make sense with my hands and in my head. I will never fucking do it.
Okay.
But give me a
Coward.
controller and we'll see what happens.
Coward.
Coward.
My last one of sport I was it like and don't think I'd be good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sport I liked and
You
I,
think it's cool,
that I
yeah.
know I won't be good at is basketball.
Mm.
I don't have the handles.
You want to call a certain someone
don't-
out?
I know I'm always gonna be better than Adriano.
Oh wow!
but,
Called out.
but I'm not particularly
What if
good
he
myself.
what if he uses his feet?
What do you mean?
What? But what? Sorry, what are you saying about basketball throws you off? Because you have like the build for it more than I for sure fucking do.
I mean, I don't have great handles. I can't jump very well.
You think it's like a hand-eye coordination thing?
I don't like I'm like I know what I want to do, but like I just can't do
But I'm
it.
saying, like, do you feel like you have way better foot-eye coordination than you do hand-eye coordination?
Oh, way better.
Well, there you go.
Way better.
See, then you and I are kind of opposites in that because I feel like with enough time and training, I could get the like skill of basketball down. Of like, yes, I can throw a shot. Yes, I can like dribble and do all
Can
this
you
shit.
show us that again?
Yep.
Wow.
Fade away.
Kobe, you're some piece.
But I will never have the like built-in,
Dude, you know what we should
physicality of it. Whereas
No,
I
we-
feel like you have the, height and reach and like that kind of shit.
You know what we should do? We should join like a fucking like house we should
House
join
league,
we should join
basketball
like
league.
some like
Basketball?
yeah. I feel like it would be really fun if all of us just joined
It
like
would be fun.
a team sport, just play like
We
you
can't
know-
anymore because
yeah. I know.
Selfish. I have thought about that with hockey though, and I know you used to say like, oh, what if
But
we
I'm-
just join like a shitty house league team or something?
But I'm saying a sport that we all know how to play. I mean,
Right.
Like I like for all of us, I think
well, soccer would be the easiest to go
probably
to.
because they already play it. But I think I wouldn't want to do soccer because they have such a head start that it wouldn't be equal playing. Like me and you would be like such outliers that we wouldn't be able to like keep up with
I
them.
wouldn't mind basketball.
I think basketball is a good option because I feel like we're all probably equally as shit. And then also, I think another one could be
Then we bring in-
some sort of combat sport like boxing
Sure.
or Muay Thai, where
I mean,
none
we're
of
gonna
us,
do that, right?
Fencing.
yeah, fencing, yeah, whatever.
We all sign up for a basketball team, but then we
Or
bring,
baseball.
We bring Paulo in as our ringer.
Baseball would be so much fun. I
Baseball is
feel like.
another one where baseball. The reason I didn't answer baseball for any of these is I know for a fact I could play baseball. I just don't. Not necessarily that I would do it well, but like I couldn't pitch for shit, but I could
Catch
bat fine enough, and I could be like in the outfield or the
Why do you
infield or
say
whatever.
that?
And what?
Why do you say that you could bat fine enough?
You were just going
Have
off
you
about
played
how
it
hard it is.
But I'm saying like okay, but I'm not talking about the MLB. I'm saying like if
No,
I was
but
gonna
like,
play
if,
it
Like
in,
you're saying,
But
if
why
like
you
a
say it-
Patrick Fahim is pitching and he's hitting, then he's
I could
gonna
never
hit.
pitch
But
ever.
why are you? I'm saying, why are you saying that you could bat fine enough? Have you tried like batting?
Yeah, like I've played baseball before. Not like any sort of like league or anything, but like I've played.
Because I have no idea if I could ever bat.
Yeah.
Like if I could ever hit a ball.
Here's what I know about myself. I can't throw for anything.
Me neither. I
so
wouldn't.
if it came down to me needing to throw it to first base to Malcolm
Yeah.
to get the win,
I think people
we're gonna
awesome.
lose.
But that I think would be
I,
fun.
I think people overestimate their ability to throw because I've seen it with the celebrities doing the first pitch of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit's awesome.
Whenever I see
And-
that, I genuinely think like, how can these people not throw?
I honestly think the same thing, but I'm like, I think I'd probably do the same thing.
The thing is,
If I
I
got
know-
up there and I try to, because the thing is, here's the thing, if you're throwing a ball with your friend, it's whatever. But if you're trying to pitch it, like you're trying to put all your power into it, it's probably hitting the ground because you like to fucking perfectly hit it straight.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have this memory that I'm never
Yeah.
gonna forget. Malcolm and I were hiking
Yeah.
and we found a couple stones and I tried throwing one as far as I could. We were trying to hit this tree. I got nowhere near it. No, Malcolm actually threw first. He was trying to hit this tree and he got it. And then I went up,
I wasn't even close.
not even close. Like
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
throw it even a fourth of the distance. he
Yeah,
threw
it's
it.
your technique. You gotta you gotta adjust that technique.
Don't sweat it.
Dude, I really want to join some sort of sport together, and I
So
think
Maybe we
could
can
be
find
fun.
like a short little summer league, like June to like
For basketball?
August when
For
Patrick
basketball,
leaves.
yeah.
It's for like basketball. I'd be down.
That could
yeah, I'd
fun,
be open to it. I also
That's 4 out of 5 on the
They do
court.
it at the Velodrome, and
yeah, I feel like I want all of us to join to something like that. Whether we want to be like, okay, let's commit to a boxing gym or
even like ball hockey. That would be so fucking awesome.
Ball hockey would be
I
fun.
think I'd want to do like either like MMA or boxing or basketball.
Yeah.
I feel
You
like
could start off by
Basketball.
doing like drop-ins, like go to
Mm.
drop-in basketball every
Even
now
some
and
gyms
would-
have a
God,
basketball.
we
court,
would
yeah.
get. I think we get torn up.
then. At a
No,
drop-in
no, I wouldn't-
basketball thing.
Like, because I know people that go to like soccer drop-ins and like they're playing against like guys like me and you, and they get torn up.
No,
So if
I wouldn't
we-
want to join. I wouldn't want to join and start playing people. I'd want to all of us like go to a basketball court and just like fuck around and practice for some months even.
Yeah.
Practice our dribbling, practice our shooting,
Yeah.
play 2-on-2.
Our timeline is months, by the way.
Play 2-on-2s, play like horse or whatever.
Okay.
Like just kind of like get our practice in for shooting and passing and dribbling and stuff like that. Because if we join any team, even beginners, like we'd be kind of screwed. I mean.
Actually, I want to add one on. One thing I like, and I'm also not good at this moment. I've been practicing golf, and it is so hard. It is so
Oh,
unbelievably hard.
golf. True.
But it's so enjoyable. Even when I don't hit the ball, it's so much fun.
You love it. You
Slamming
just love
it.
it.
I
Thanks,
love
Jesus.
it.
I think we all gave our
Yeah.
2 cents here.
Please,
yeah.
Jesus, let's do 3 topics.
Okay. Just before we head out, I was gonna say I brought up Liam. He would be, I think, a cool guest to talk about football in America. But I think Adriano would be a cool guest to talk about like soccer
Europe.
and football, European football in Europe too. So yeah, I think we could have
There
we
you
have
go.
potential
Some
for
guests.
some cool.
Adriano's never actually been on, has he?
Adriano.
He sat
been
in
was
here,
supposed to
but
come
not on.
on.
He wasn't?
He sat in during the water episode.
He was,
But he
sat
wasn't.
in, but he was supposed to be a guest. I can't remember what happened. Why that
He
fell
sat in
through.
on the like. I think when I did the Subway cookies as well.
Yeah, that was the same.
Yeah, we did the
episode.
cookies, we did the
Oh,
water.
wow.
Yeah,
What
that
an
was the
episode.
episode he was here that he had hung out for. But yeah, he wasn't actually on in any official capacity. We'll have to fix that next time
Sorry,
he's
Adriano.
stateside,
In town.
as they say. Anyways,
We'll be back.
gentlemen, at the time of recording,
Who farted?
well, me,
Go ahead.
Was me.
it has been
Go back.
a tumultuous, fascinating, earth-shattering week in the games industry.
Okay.
Earlier this week, and this is going to be a very nerdy inside baseball, and as I said to you guys, boring and me specific. Boring and me specific topic.
Don't do it then.
So I apologize,
Matty,
but we're going to get
Matty,
into this.
If you're saying it's boring, why are you going through?
I feel like it gets broader and into more interesting things,
Okay.
but it's just something, I have thoughts I'd like to get off my chest, and I have the perfect avenue to, like, force everybody.
Welcome to start off.
I have the perfect opportunity with the podcast to force everybody around me to sit and deal with it while I talk about it. So it starts with Xbox. It will broaden out to a larger thing. It was announced this week that Xbox is closing 4 of their in-house studios, specifically 4 of Bethesda's studios. 2 of them I already fucking forget the names of. One of them was a mobile developer, which made this game called Mighty Doom, which was like a Doom spin-off mobile game.
God.
They are gone. The other team has been shuttered, but sort of folded into Elder Scrolls Online's team.
Mhm.
So they're kind of just like getting absorbed
So some of
into
them got
that.
saved.
But some of them are getting canned.
Okay.
Arcane Austin, famous for making what I would argue, not having played, I guess, Dishonored 2 yet, or Redfall, not that I'm fucking going to, but of the Arcane games that I've played, what I would argue their best, Prey. And then last year's Redfall, which was that fucking multiplayer shooter vampire game, which was a complete fucking disaster. Gonzo. Tango Gameworks, who made the much beloved to me, highly underrated Two Evil Within games. Then Ghostwire Tokyo, which I've not played yet, but hear nothing but good things about.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then last year's Game of the Year contender, Hi-Fi Rush. Gonzo. Xbox's only Japanese studio that they owned, a market they have expressed interest in over the years, looking to move into Japan, which they have zero fucking presence in, and PlayStation and Nintendo are just eating their lunch in Japan. I mean, they're eating their lunch all over the fucking planet, but specifically Japan. Xbox has no brand loyalty or presence there at all. They finally have a studio that is a liked studio that puts out well-received, and again, a critical darling last year. That they apparently have said in tweets and all this stuff, met all these metrics and did big numbers on Game Pass and all this shit. Gone.
What game?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh,
Gonzo. Studio done.
Tango's Japanese?
And
Yeah.
and the people who made the game, so all the workers are out of a job now?
Unless some of them have been kind of filed into other things, right now they're gone. And we're going to get into the numbers on people getting fired, because this is an interesting thing. There's an element of this conversation which then broadens out to my bigger topic, because we're not going to get into all the details of it. Like, you know, if you give a shit like I do, go check out, you know, what's up with fucking, I know, Drat, right? With Xbox and everything. But it's fascinating. But a point that has been made that people have been talking about is, how is it that after a decade now for some of these people, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, Matt Booty, great last name, head up person at Xbox.
Booty? Can you spell that for me?
Am I hearing talking? What the hell is
Yeah,
that?
the window's open.
I know the window's open. I just talking was so clearly. I was like, they in the room.
Feel the sunlight.
Phil Spencer, Matt Booty,
Can you spell his last name?
Booty.
No way.
No way.
Straight up.
No way it's Booty.
Sarah Bond,
Yeah.
another head up at Xbox. Aaron Greenberg.
Sarah Bond, no relation?
Made up all
No.
these names. Made up all these names right now.
These are four like head up people at Xbox who have been there. Like Phil Spencer's coming up on 10 years. Like these four people have been floating around a while. A point has been brought up as Malcolm applies this chapstick. How do these fucking people still have a job? Matt Booty just got promoted last year. How do these people still have
Yeah,
a
he
job at Microsoft and at Xbox's gaming division when they have done nothing? Now, in their defense, they inherited the Xbox One generation, where Xbox lost everything. They lost all the momentum from the 360. It all went downhill. They've never recovered. But it's like, people point to like, oh, Game Pass. Oh, we went and bought Bethesda and Activision and fucking Double Fine and Ninja
Give
Theory
it all
and like
back, bro.
all these like independent, smaller devs. It's like they went and bought all these studios. Game Pass. What do they have to show for it?
Parts?
Hi-Fi Rush. Probably their most successful thing that's been on Xbox in like 10 years. Starfield. Apparently did really well on Game Pass. Was well liked. It was not what they had hoped for. It was not a Fallout 3 from Bethesda. It was not a Skyrim from Bethesda. It was arguably not even a Fallout 4 in terms of like, it was in the zeitgeist and 10 out of 10 and people love this fucking
Talked about
thing.
it for like a week.
And holy shit, and blah, blah, blah. A lot of hype leading up to it.
It went to its grave. It went to a console that...
Well, this is also a point. So, my topic at large, and I wrote some notes down here before we got rolling, which I've never really done. I guess you would call it art versus business, or art and commerce, and the idea of those two things coming together. And I don't know, I just wanted to vent about it and get your guys' thoughts on it. Because it starts with Xbox. The teams are now gone. The going rumors out of all of this was that Tango pitched a Hi-Fi Rush sequel to Xbox. Not happening. after the shit show that was Redfall, Arcane Austin wanted to get back to their more what they're known for of these like first-person immersive sim games, which apparently was what they had planned on making next, an immersive sim. The going rumor for that? Dishonored 3. Out the fucking
But
window.
Austin didn't make Dishonored, did they? I thought that was Montreal. So
The French team, the Lyon, they're the ones that did, I think, more of the heavy lifting on the first two. Like, they're more considered their babies. But
Yeah.
with Lyon doing Blade now,
yeah.
the going reports are that, like, Redfall was a shit show. We're going to pivot back to, like, a Prey. More in that vein of what our studios is kind of known for, which might have been a Dishonored 3 out the fucking window.
Could Leon still pick it up, you think?
Maybe after Blade.
after Blade.
Who knows?
Because I feel like if they're committed to it enough, they can still do it.
Probably. Leadership remains after all this. What have they done? Where is the success? The brand is dead. As far as a lot of people are concerned, the ship is sinking here. Game Pass is not working. It is not getting the numbers they need. It is not getting the money they need. They put those 4 games on PlayStation and some of them on Nintendo like we talked about forever ago. Not even what people even thought. The top selling game on PlayStation for the month was Sea of Thieves. Not like 10 or 8 or 9 like some people thought it might be, and then people had the theory of like, well, if, you know,
Was it free?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so. People had the thing of like, well, if Sea of Thieves comes like 10th for the month it comes out, that might make Xbox be like, well, we have to bring Starfield over, and we have to bring Hellblade 2, which is imminent out, like, over, because it's going to make all this money. Number 1 for Sea of Thieves. And that's the pirate game. What do you fucking think Halo is going to do?
Dude, please.
Or Gears of War?
I want Halo so bad.
If they
We gotta play
take
Halo.
their 2 biggest things in like Halo and Gears of War, and they're like, yeah, here's the Master Chief Collection. Here's Halo 1, 2, 3, 3 ODST, Reach, and we'll bring 4 and 5 and
Dude,
Infinite
4
over.
that'd be so sick.
Like, here's all the Halo games. Here's a Gears of War collection. Are you fucking kidding me?
I would buy Halo in
You
an
know,
instant.
millions and millions and millions and millions of copies of those games would be sold. Xbox is on its way out the door. But what frustrates me about all this, who pays the price in this situation? The artists and the devs at these studios, the art they were making and they were going to make, and the future enjoyment of that shit, the customers, the people who don't get to play a Dishonored 3, the people who don't get to play another fucking Prey, or not that I actually just bought it the other day because it was on sale, but like a Hi-Fi Rush, or more Hi-Fi Rush. Nope, gone, fuck you, out the window. And this gets into my frustration nowadays with the whole art versus business thing, and I'll pass it over to you guys in a second before I continue my tirade here. But if I just, I wanted to pull up, I meant to pull this up earlier. So there's this website that tracks industry layoffs in the gaming world. 2022. Where's the specific number here? Estimated 8,500 jobs were lost in the gaming industry in 2022.
Is that a lot?
So that's 8,500 in 2022. That's a big amount. 2023, it jumps up 2,000 approximately to 10,500. That's the whole year. 2024, we are at 9,500 already. And it's fucking May. It's not just Xbox. There have been layoffs at Sony. They just closed like one of their studios. It wasn't like, you know, a Santa Monica or a Naughty Dog, or like, it wasn't necessarily one of their like big hitters, but they closed, I think it was London studio, and for sure Pixel Opus, who did that Concrete Genie game, gone out the fucking window. EA, fucking Take-Two, who owns Grand Theft Auto, which gets into my point. All these fucking companies have like shed all these people, and we're 5 months into the year, and it's already 9,500 when last year was 1,000 more than that for the entire fucking year. So buckle up on how bad it's going to be. And there's already murmurings at Xbox because at the beginning of the year, they shaved like 1,900 jobs from the Activision studios. Now they've taken the hatchet to Bethesda, and the going rumors have been like next Xbox cuts is going to like the more internal teams, which already has people shitting their pants of like, I hope Hellblade 2 does really good, or Ninja Theory might be in some hot water, or a smaller studio that puts out a game like Psychonauts 2 of like, what's Double Fine? What are they going to be looking like? You know,
Do they save more money closing them down, or can they just sell the studios? Like, why don't they just sell the studios?
I think part of it is that by closing them, they get to hang on to like, you know,
The IP?
IPs and like, you know, maybe some of the workforce, so they get to kind of cherry pick like maybe like hire people at like studios and stuff that they want to keep, but they don't have to now pay for like, you know, the space to fucking house all these people when they're working and to employ all these fucking people. Like, it's all just this cost saving shit. From Microsoft, by the way. Mr., you know, $2 trillion, whatever the fuck they are, company. So anyways, this has been a lot. I apologize. But before I go any further, does anybody have anything, thoughts, opinions, feelings about any of this? I know this is very nerdy and inside baseball.
Why does it happen? Like, what? You said Sony cut people off. EA was cutting people off. Why are they doing that?
Everybody, there's a lot of cutting that's been going on in the game industry, and part of what's to blame for this, which continues to get into my one angle of this point, is when COVID was going on, a ton of gaming shit took off. Like, way more games were being sold, way more consoles were being bought, you know, PS Plus.
Bless you.
My throat's really dry. I wish I brought water.
Gaming
Subscription services like Game Pass and PS Plus and all that, everything was going up. Because everybody's fucking home and can't fucking go anywhere. There's nothing to do. So no shit, it went up. And somehow, all these executives at all these companies didn't have the foresight to think, well, clearly, in a couple of years, this is all going to go away when we get over this shit and people start, you know, going back to fucking work and living their lives again. Clearly, this is not a forever, like, oh, there was a boom and now it's only going up. Apparently, nobody had that foresight because all these companies, big and small, brought on all these people, increased all their teams, started funding for all these games. You have a lot of these companies chasing the live service bullshit of even fucking PlayStation with Naughty Dog, where it's like, yeah, we're going to just turn factions into its own game and have it be a thing. And then that gets fucking canceled. So it's like you have all these companies trying to chase Fortnite and PUBG and Warzone because there's, if you can get it right, billions of dollars to be made there if you can fucking get it right kind of thing. And Apex Legends 2, for example. So it's like dumb bets on live service, which we still haven't even seen all of it pay off yet with like a Sony, for example. Because yes, they just had Helldivers 2, which was this big smash hit. But it's like, is that Fair Games game gonna fucking do anything? Is that Concord game gonna fucking do anything? Like, you canceled Factions because that wasn't living up to snuff, but these other games are gonna somehow fucking win hearts and minds. That remains to be seen. But so it's like overstaffing, overcommitting, too much money, too much time on all these projects, bringing on too many people. And now that the margins are lower and the money's not flowing in as much as it is, a lot of these companies are having to like axe shit and whatever. And it's like part of what stems the frustration of this to me, and what I'll pass on to you guys before I add a second layer to this. When I talk about art and business, I find it immensely frustrating that, specifically in games, for example, there can be these people at the tops of companies that make the most short-sighted, dumbest decisions possible, and yet they aren't the ones that pay the price for it. And it just frustrates me to no end, whereas now you have, as of this year, 9,500 people now, who maybe some of them have found jobs or like gotten on to smaller teams, or, you know, to the video game industry's credit, when there have been studio closures in the past or like big layoffs, you'll see like Naughty Dog and like an Xbox studio and like, you know, a fucking EA or a Ubisoft. Like, you'll see studios basically go out on Twitter and shit and be like, hey, you know, we know your studio just got like shuttered or whatever. We're hiring at Naughty Dog. We're hiring at Ubisoft. Like, apply, come, you know, get in. Like, there is a very tight-knit sense of like kind of looking after each other, but it's like, it shouldn't have to be that way kind of thing. It's like, why isn't the people at the top of, in this instance, Xbox, for example, How do they still have jobs after 10 years of basically, again, I get that they inherited a shit show, but it's like, they made a gamble on Game Pass. It was interesting. It was neat. Xbox has maybe one more console, and like, if rumors are true, a handheld and it left before, if I was a betting man, they become, interestingly, just the biggest third-party publisher. Of, hey, we don't make hardware anymore. We only do games. We put it everywhere. Like, and that's what we make our money. Which, for a time, before the Switch, was what everybody fucking thought Nintendo was going to turn into. Because they were like, the fucking Wii U stunk. That thing didn't sell anything.
But I want Nintendo. I love Nintendo, but I would rather them put their games everywhere, because Nintendo's so good because of their games, not because of their consoles.
Exactly.
Their consoles are kind of...
Their hardware is
not great.
Whatever, but it's the software that's fantastic.
If imagine if PlayStation players and Xbox players got to play Mario Kart and fucking Smash.
Exactly.
On PlayStation and stuff.
That'd be incredible.
And the tail end and mid generation of the Wii U was like,
this is it.
man, Nintendo's fucking done, dude. I'm looking forward to the next Zelda game on my fucking PS4.
Yeah.
And then they come out with a Switch, and it's like, nope, we're still good.
We're still gonna deliver lackluster hardware.
Second or third highest selling console of all time.
Yeah.
Bink, like, we're good. We're Nintendo. Fuck you. We've got it, kind of thing. But then with Xbox, it is the kind of thing of like, I think you guys are done. I think it was an interesting ride. It was a good ride, coming in the early 2000s and shit, and becoming one of the big three and whatever, when like, Sega falls away and all this shit. But it's like, I hate to say it, I don't think it's good for the industry, but I think Xbox has sort of run its course. But anyways, does anybody have anything to add to that before I get to the next layer of this?
Yeah.
This is so much fun for me as a topic that I apologize to everybody else. AI is the next leg of this. That frustrates me as it pertains to art and business. Now, we've talked about AI on the show in the past, and I feel like when we did it many moons ago, that topic was almost like too early. Because I feel like that, I'd have to check the dates on that, but I feel like that topic was right before we started seeing the shit we see now. I feel like when we talked about it, it was more like the chat GPTs and like, oh, you can have an essay written for you and whatever. But I feel like it was before I see, LeBron James on my Instagram reels talking about like having chats with Churchill or Stalin about shit. Like, have you seen those fucking AI edits? All I see on my Instagram reels, I see these ones where it's all just LeBron James like sitting in like the room after like a game. But like, you can tell it's not perfect, that the mouth is like AI, and then it's just his voice, and he's like, and I was sitting and I said to Winston Churchill that, we can't capitulate to the Nazis, that we have to we have to go in there and get after them, and we can't capitulate. So it's just like all these dumb, stupid edits. But I feel like our conversation way back when was like pre all that shit, and now it's taken off so dramatically of like the shit people can do with like not even just text anymore, but images and video and like deep faking shit, and like how all that's run amok. But I feel like this gets into a similar thing of, as somebody who's, I guess, not technically in the art world yet, as I continue my job hunt. So let's say on the fringes right now, about to step in, hopefully. I find it infinitely frustrating, and I guess this is a question I'll pose to you to get you guys off the bench, is like, do you guys think about these types of things, or do these types of things even register to you as people who are more like viewers than necessarily doers with any of the shit? Because to me, it's like, the Xbox angle frustrates me, of like, you have people in charge of 10,000 people's lives that make dumb, stupid decisions that I, not to be like, armchair quarterback, could have fucking told you were like bad bets or bad decisions, but these people are making upwards of like millions and millions of dollars to make these dumb decisions, have them fail, and then pay none of the price for it as the $1 trillion company they work for cuts away thousands of people's jobs in like studios and, you know, filters out these talented artists and people that like, you know, might have gone on to continue to make good shit. That some will stay, a lot won't. A lot will move to different industries, a lot will go to different things. And with AI, it's the same thing where it's like, you know, you had the writer's strike last year in the movie world of like trying to like resist some of the shit that like, you know, fucking Bob Iger and some of these other chooches that like Disney and all these like big movie corporations were getting out of like, you know, fucking licking their lips of like, you mean I don't have to pay a writer to write me the next fucking Star Wars movie? I can just plug it into a computer and like, you know, tweak it a little and then there's your script kind of thing and just go from there. And so that, I guess, is the question I pose to you guys to take a break in my tirade is like, does any of this hold any water? Does it even register, or is it things that like you don't even really think about, or like maybe you think about it or you're aware of it but like don't give a shit? Like, does it register at all, I guess, is my point.
I don't really give a shit about much. I feel like there's a lot of shit going on where I'm like, maybe I should care about it, but I just don't. I don't know. I think maybe it'll be hard for me to care until something significant happens that I feel like impacts the way I live my life. But I'm not necessarily like someone who's, like you're saying, I'm on the outside. I'm not someone who's like going to be deeply affected personally if something happens. If this company shuts down or that company shuts down, like, I like video games. I love video games, and I'm always going to be playing them. If something happens to a studio, I might be like, oh man, that sucks, but like, I won't think about it much more than that. And then in terms of like the AI stuff, I hope it doesn't go in that direction, because I feel like that originality of human beings being able to come up with interesting ideas is like important, and I don't think it would be a good idea for us to just like be like, you know what, let's just let AI write everything. I feel like it'll make, I don't know, maybe it'll still create good content, but I feel like it might make things feel more generic. So yeah, I don't know. As a fan of movies and stories and stuff, I hope it doesn't go that way. And then in terms of like, with like the companies shutting down and shit, I feel bad for everybody who has to deal with that, because like you said, it's not their fault. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like sit around and think much about it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Even in the AI stuff, even if it wasn't the case that was generic and that AI was doing really good work,
Sure.
I still wouldn't want it.
No,
Because,
yeah.
again, there's the point of the humanness
Yeah.
to what you're consuming.
It would almost feel weird watching something, even if you love it.
Yeah.
You're like, but a human didn't create this. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to support it when it's.
Because if it's the case that the AI made it, then there's no emotion that you can attribute to it. There's no. It's just like it was an algorithm, or it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it was a human that made it, then you can be like, okay, there's meaning behind this, and there could be like, you know, this was intentional, this wasn't intentional.
Dude, that goes.
Not that can't be the case with AI, but it's more. It's less human.
I think that kind of idea connects to like the whole robot thing. Like when we were talking about, like, even like Malcolm was telling you watched Ex Machina recently, and how he really liked it. Like I'm thinking about when I was doing my pitch for the Ex Machina sequel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking like a part of the idea of that sequel that I was pitching was like her making relationships with people and forming relationships, and then people finding out and how much of a mindfuck that is for them and how much that hurts them.
Yeah.
Not because like you didn't genuinely love this person. Like you had good relationships, you had good conversations, like just like you would watch this like AI generated movie, like you didn't think anything was wrong, but just the fact that whatever. Okay. What are you doing?
I swear to God, I hit record.
When did it stop recording?
I have no idea, but I swear to God, I hit record. I have to check after.
Okay.
But like
So I don't know how much of that we did or did not get. I will be using a lot of camera audio for that. I apologize. Your boy is not on the ball today.
Yeah, like I was saying, like should I continue?
Please.
Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like you could like in this sequel idea that I was thinking about and that I was pitching to you guys, the Ex Machina sequel. I feel like you could form a relationship with this robot, and it feels so natural and genuine, and everything's fine. But when you find out that it's not, this thing isn't originally a human, it's not a human. There's something that's like almost, I don't know, you feel hurt or betrayed. I feel like it would be the same thing if you watch a movie and you love it, and then you find out, it would be like, that would be kind of weird. It would be like, I feel weird about this. Like it's not natural, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that someone might say like that's a naturalistic fallacy or whatever, that, you know, the argument that something's not good because it's not natural. But I feel like in this case, it would just make us feel weird, no matter whether we like it or not. It would just feel different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it other than that, but
Well, the one point you mentioned, Mark, is kind of it's like at the crux of my frustration of all this, and what I
like that
wrote
word,
down
crux.
Thank you. What I wrote down in my notes here is like, where is the humanity? And I mean that in two senses. In a kind of literal sense of like, where is the humanity in terms of like when you're filtering talented people out of industries and out of jobs and their livelihoods, just, at a whim, because it's, we need to save costs and cut this and blah, 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 as your company reports, whatever profits, and as you're paying these people to make dumbass decisions. Like, just once, it's very rare, but it's like, I would love to see the story one day that's like, the CEO of X company took $50 million less than they would have made this year to like keep jobs or their company floating. In fact, there was a guy, Iwata something, I forget his name, at Nintendo who did that very thing during his career at Nintendo. I forget when it was specifically. I'd have to pull it up. But he like did that at Nintendo when they like weren't in such a hot spot. And he was like, I'm taking way less money as like this head guy at Nintendo than I should be making. I'm taking way less so that we don't have to fucking like close any teams or lay people off, and that money can just kind of, allocated that way. And it's like,
I think the difference,
somebody with principle.
I think the difference there might be that like a lot of the people at Xbox, for example, the higher up people might view it more like a business than an art form, right? How like it might just be like, you know what, this is a business, we got to make cuts now, as opposed to like, we genuinely love video games and we want to create, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
It might be more of like the Nintendo guy might have had more of a passion for video games and like having these like small knit teams that are like, passionate about video games and actually care, as opposed to like, we're simply a money making machine. This is just how we make money. So cutting isn't going to be important because this conglomerate is going to stay alive anyway. We're just going to like cut smaller stuff.
Sure. And there is, two things with that. There is obviously something to be said in Xbox's case, because I heard it recently. I forget the exact number, but somebody was saying something along the lines of like, every dollar Microsoft makes, 6 cents of that is like because of Xbox. Like, Xbox is such a drop in the bucket for Microsoft overall, whereas Nintendo's kind of
I thought it
become
was
this
draining
like
them money.
what
to be
Xbox.
honest.
It probably is, but like Nintendo has become this like Disney-like company where it's like the merch and the movies and theme parks and all that stuff, like that all helps, but their games is their bread and butter. And Sony wasn't always like this, but they have become now. Yes, they're this big electronics company that does like, TVs and hardware appliances
and
all
really
this
good
shit.
quality shit.
And
too.
all this really good quality shit. PlayStation is now their biggest money maker. It's not necessarily to the same degree maybe as like a Nintendo or something, but it's, it's past the like, 50 plus 1.
Proportion wise, you're saying compared to Nintendo, right?
Sure, yeah, like
I'm
Nintendo.
I'm sure they're bigger than Nintendo, but I'm saying you're
Yes,
saying like,
but like
they're-
Nintendo's, the money
90%
Nintendo
of
makes,
it.
like 90% of it is
Yeah,
from
yeah.
their games. Whereas at Sony's case, they've crossed that like 50 plus 1
Now it's
kind of
majority,
threshold
yeah.
where it's like PlayStation is their bread and butter kind of thing. So it is this important thing. Whereas Xbox could disappear tomorrow and
Microsoft's
Microsoft
fine, yeah.
would not give a fuck. They'd be like, all
are they
right,
mainly,
whatever.
Are they mainly like, making their money from computers and shit?
Yeah, like they're all Windows and computer, like they're all everywhere else kind of thing, and now AI and all this shit to this point. So I get that it's like different that Xbox looks at it more like as a business than like let's cherish the art thing. But that's what frustrates me too, and I know it's almost stupid to bring this up, but this is also what stems the whole like art versus business thing for me. Is it's like I wish, and I know it's such a not possible thing, and it's almost dumb and naive to say, but there is that part of me that is like, I wish art could just exist as like its own thing, completely separate from
Money?
the like business reality of it.
Yeah.
I know that's just not the way the game works and how it's set up,
I think
kind
it
of
did.
thing.
I think it did at some point, right? Like, however many centuries ago, when it was just kind of like, let me tell this group of people a story.
Sure.
I'm not gonna make them pay me to hear it.
Yeah.
And like drawing shit that doesn't require like crazy equipment and like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
I know
doing it for like the love of
the
it.
purity of it, and like the artistic expression and how impressive it is, and like without the need for like huge companies to be formed. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it. The other side of the thing, to Mark's point about like, and to my question of like, where's the humanity? To me, it's like, not to get too into the philosophical weeds, but it's like, what makes us, you know? And like, what separates us from the rest of the fucking animal kingdom and all that stuff? And to me, it's like, yes, the fact that we're self-aware and that, like, you know, we know we're alive. Fucking, I think, therefore I am, and all that bullshit. But it's like, to me, it's like art and all forms of it, painting, movies, video games, music, all that shit, to me is like so in our DNA and like intrinsically what makes people, and stripping that away for the sake of saving or making more money by doing like, we'll just have the AI do it, just have the computer do it, is so like infinitely frustrating and depressing.
it's like anti-human.
To me, it borders on that like anti-human thing of just like trying to replace things at the sake of like, you know, the fucking dollar or whatever. And I find it's just so frustrating. So it's like I've had the AI thing in my head for a while now, but it was the Xbox thing this week, which I just think in the games industry on its own is fascinating. But it's just like one of the many conversations that has come out of it of like, how do these Xbox people still have their fucking like high position jobs, was the other kind of like thing for me in this idea of like art and business, and what a like necessary but frustrating reality that is, and how it like impacts things. And the AI thing is just frustrating too, because it's like people have made the point of like, one day you're going to watch a movie or play a game that was all done by AI, and you're not going to know it, and you're going to really like it, and then you're going to get to the end of it, and then it's like, and then that's going to be the point where it's like, oh well, who cares anymore, it's good enough, I didn't even notice, blah blah blah. But I'm more in line with you guys of like, wouldn't that come across as a really disheartening thing to know that like not a single person
Thought about it.
worked on this and got it? And like, to me, the most salient point I've heard countering AI is this idea that it's like, the reason a movie might be really, or like a song might be really emotionally resonant, is because a person lived that experience and then wrote the breakup song that you listened to when you went through a breakup and cried about, kind of thing. Or it's like Spielberg making Schindler's List. He's Jewish. His parents, correct me if I'm wrong, were like fucking in the Holocaust and shit. So it's like, that's a very personal, human, powerful thing to pull from. Excuse me.
You know what I'd be okay with? AI creating like generic superhero movies, because they're already so fucking. Most of the superhero movies are so generic and whack these days that I feel like AI could probably do it better than a lot of the generic studios have been making them.
I'd be okay with it making children's content.
Yeah, sure, like TV shows, like little TV shows, whatever. Like just to have like we're gonna program this is the message of the show, and then it's gonna kind of, the AI is gonna create the rest of it. But I feel like, yeah, like stories that like human emotion is like the core at the core of it. You shouldn't remove humans out of that equation, right?
But then to this counterpoint of like, AI doesn't. The only reason AI even has
Are we talking
could
about
emulate
Are we talking about Allen Iverson or artificial intelligence?
artificial intelligence.
Good joke, right?
But it's like the only way that art or AI could even get to any of that is because it's stealing it from us.
Yeah.
If you sit down with one of these AI programs and you're like, give me a Renaissance painting, it might give you, if there is a way to quantify this, the objective best Renaissance painting ever seen, ever, anywhere. The best one. But where did it fucking get that from? All it did was just go Renaissance paintings and scan a shitload of Renaissance paintings and then come up with the best possible thing. It's like, well, that doesn't fucking mean anything to me. The only reason that, like, you know, a movie genre or like, you know, rock and roll's interesting to me because it's like, you had like these fucking blues players in like the 50s and shit, and like all these other different tastes and things like kind of coming together and like starting to make this new genre and this new sound, and then you get like, you know, in the 60s more or less, this kind of like, oh shit, rock and roll's a thing and blah blah blah, and then that fucking takes off. And then, you know, when you get to closer like to the 90s and shit, it's like you have these kind of more like, not downtrodden, but just people who more are like, you know, in like maybe poorer areas, or like fed up with the system, or fed up with the police and this, that, and the other thing. And they don't have necessarily like access or means and all these things, but they start, you know, sampling shit and fucking turning it into these things. And then, oh, look, NWA and like hip hop and rap and all this kind of shit. But it's like that all comes from like a human originality and like working at it over time. So it's like a computer being like, yep, here's the best fucking rock and roll song you've ever heard. Here it is. It's the best one. Makes every fucking Rush and Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones song look like dog shit. Like, here it is. It's objectively the best. It's like, okay, but you didn't do anything to like earn it or craft it or sit with it and come up with it. You just shat it out, and yeah, it might be good, but like it doesn't have, to Mark's point, the humanity to it. So anyways, nobody else has anything to add with this. We can wrap it up here. Like I said, I said off air, I wanted to go last today so that we could bury my very niche inside baseball thing at the end.
Not to play devil's advocate, but
please,
wouldn't you say that the AI scanning everything is like its form of like inspiration? It's like, not to like anthropomorphize it, but like
that makes sense.
It's inspiration.
Because any human being creating a Renaissance painting is using references.
Yeah,
as well.
and
Maybe,
anyone creating anything is
but
using their environment, integrating it. And
but the point
being
is
original.
that like if you were learning guitar and you were like, I want to make rock and roll music, and you went and sat and listened to like, you know, all the fucking best shit from the 70s and whatever.
Yeah.
You still have to then take all that, come up with something, and then you have to actually like know how to play guitar and know music theory, and like, you know, you have to like know, like there's so much learning and knowledge and like discipline and practice that goes into it,
That the
as
computer
opposed
can do
to a
so
computer
quickly.
just like in an instant being like, you know.
Yeah.
And to me it's like we want AI for like medicine and like supplementary shit. And when like people in medical fields talk about like, oh yeah, this shit we're going to be able to like figure out and cure in the coming years, like that would have taken us decades, but that AI will be able to do so much quicker. I'm like, there you go.
So-
There's a practical fucking use for this thing.
Yeah.
Is like, let it help solve these
So-
medical things or like scientific things in space and all this shit that we're trying to understand.
Yeah, but
Do you think-
it doesn't make sense applying it to.
But we don't need it to replace fucking
you think-
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
think that your argument doesn't hold water anymore when the AI is like truly independent?
What do you mean?
if they become
Like if they become
sentient?
sentient, yeah, that they're like by themselves, independent.
Like Detroit
And
Become
it's-
Human, where they're like they have their own rights and their own.
That's way more like Blade
Isn't that
Runner
scary?
and sci-fi and scary, but like
But would you not
it's a
be?
whole philosophical thing. But I think that opens up at least a more interesting can of worms if you had this being that was thinking and feeling for itself, that sat down and was like, I am feeling emotions.
Can I pose a question here?
Please.
I want to pose a question to everybody. Maybe we can do this as like this kind of like this final point here. But I don't know about you guys. Every time I'm playing a video game, and I know Matty played Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you played it, Patrick or Malcolm. But in the game, we looked at the Leslie Nielsen like when they put him in the game and he shoots that guy holding the kid. Remember when he's like he's on
yeah.
the rooftop and yeah. So like that game,
Cufflink.
that game is all about like you play 3 different perspectives, and they're all these like AI robot things. Like one of them is a cop, one of them is like a nurse or whatever. He takes care of this like rich old man, and then the third one is a nanny, and but they're all AI. And so the whole idea is that like these AI start to develop their own emotions and their own passions, and they become like kind of full-fledged people. And then there's like a revolution to kind of free them from the slavery that they're like. A lot of human beings see them as objects and abuse them and all this stuff, even though they feel sadness and they feel all these human emotions and stuff. I don't know about you guys, but like when I see that sort of stuff, or even Blade Runner is about the same kind of idea, right? About like the kind of
Yeah, like are these things alive?
yeah, the humanity
or
of them and
whatever.
stuff. Yeah. So to me, my question that I want to pose to you guys is like, if that happens in real life, and it may very well happen, where these AI beings become like feeling and breathe and like that sort of thing, would you support them? Would you support the idea of them having their own rights and having all this stuff if they reach a point where they have their own emotions and feelings, and or would you be like, no, we gotta just keep them under control even if they have their own desires and feelings and stuff? Because every time I play one of those games, I'm always on the side of the AI, and I'm sure you were too when you're playing Detroit Become Human. You're like these things like you're also playing from their perspectives as well. So you're like, I want this character to be happy and not be enslaved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like when we're thinking about it from the human perspective now, I feel like a lot of people would go the other way and be like, I don't care if you have feelings, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a deep, like, ethical, philosophical, kind of scary thing. Like, in my mind, my default answer is to kind of go to, like, you know, if these things are practically indistinguishable from a human being, then it's like, I feel like you kind of have to just
Treat them as such.
kind of thing. But there is like a whole, I don't know. It's a very deep, tough
Also,
thing to even wrap.
I feel like
your
it's
head
dangerous too because you teeter on like, oh, what are you not against? Are you anti-humanity? Are you not for human beings being the controllers? You know.
around. Yeah,
So
that's why that kind of sci-fi is always, you know, a Blade Runner, a Detroit, an Ex Machina. Like that
when you watch
sci-fi is
when you
always-
watch Blade Runner, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like you think what are they called in that world?
oh, the replicants.
Yeah, do you feel when you're watching Blade Runner, do you feel for the replicants and are you like, I want them to be able to live their own lives?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Even I forget his fucking name, but Rutger Hauer's character in the original Blade Runner,
Harrison Ford?
this is the one going around killing people and
Harrison,
whatever.
talking about Harrison Ford?
No, the replicant he's trying to catch in the original one.
Oh, the blonde guy?
Yeah,
Like you're the actor's name you're saying? Or
yeah,
the
it's Rutger Hauer's the actor, but I forget who I forget
The
his
character's
Yeah, I
name.
forget his
Mm.
character's name. But like that whole thing where it's like I'm not like, oh great, this android person's going around killing people, but it's like I get in Blade Runner's universe the whole thing of like, yeah, these things live for like 4 years and then they just fucking shut off kind of thing, and like his whole sort of like quest for more life sort of thing, and a lot of the replicants in the Blade Runner thing, like I'm definitely on the sympathetic side of like, you know,
Like Bautista's character in 2049.
exactly, so good. So I get it, you know, but there was two things I wanted to say before we wrapped up this. Oh, what I'm getting at with your point about like the idea if it was like a thinking, feeling thing, maybe this is like not a good way of illustrating this. This is why I'm not a fucking scientist or AI developer, but in my head it makes sense. If you told a computer right now, if you just said paint something, I feel like where AI is at now, it's going to be like, paint what? Like, give me a prompt. What do you fucking, like a bowl of fruit, a fucking beach? What do you want? Like, paint what kind of thing? Whereas if I said to you, Patrick Rahim, right now, canvas is sitting in front of you, paint something, top of your head, what are you painting?
A bowl of fruit. On God.
Now, maybe that's because I just mentioned a bowl of fruit and I sort of primed you there. Who knows? But what I'm saying is if I sat any person down and was just like, paint something, an infinite number of options that person is going to sit, like, think about and be like, I don't know, I guess I'll paint this or whatever. They might even just paint something abstract and just kind of throw fucking paint at the canvas. Who knows? Whereas, like, I feel like if you told an AI now,
And cry hysterically while
yeah, paint something, they're going to be like, you got to give me more than that. If it's a more like sentient AI thing where I'm like, paint something, and they sit and think about it for a second and they're like, you know, I was on a walk through fucking Central Park the other day and I saw this really pretty bird, and they paint the pretty bird. That to me, simplifying it a lot, at least off the top of my head, makes more sense, or I find less problematic.
Okay.
Because I'm like, that requires a thought process, you know? Like, if that makes any sense, what I'm saying. Whereas, like, saying to a computer now, paint me a pretty bird, requires, like, next to nothing. It's just a prompt,
You're saying,
and then it just
It's
ingests
just
it.
like an
you're
algorithm or
saying
something.
like giving it input versus like it creating its own
Sure, if there was a certain amount of humanity instilled in these things,
creativity.
creativity, then I think it's, like, a little less troublesome. And that's also a whole different thing. What I'm more concerned about is the way that it's, like, just how artists now and people in that world now, like, and people have mentioned this with what's going on in the games industry lately. I could not fucking imagine going into college right now and being like, yeah, I'm going for game development. Like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't be fucking doing that right now. I'd be shitting my pants because I'd be like, I have to hope I get into one of these bigger companies, you know, because what are the odds you're going to start some indie studio and have a fucking Shovel Knight or a Hotline Miami or one of these games that like takes off? But it's like, even, and this is what was so frustrating about Tango going, where it's like, even a studio that pumps out a game of the year contender wasn't fucking safe. So it's like, who is kind of thing. And I'm not at that point because I'm also out of school and I've sort of like committed to this path. And obviously if I really wanted to like change and go into teaching or whatever the fuck else, like I always could go back to school if I wanted to. So it's like, I am not totally discouraged from it, but as somebody who's trying to get into this world on like the film side and let's say the comic book side, there is that small like irritating nugget to me of like, man, this seems like kind of insurmountable to get into. And like, even when I am in, there's not really any guarantee that it's like a surefire bet. And even if I am in, how long is it going to be before, you know, some comic publisher or whatever is like, yeah, we don't need you anymore. Like, we have a small team that just pumps shit into an AI and then pumps what the art is supposed to be in the AI. So we don't need artists anymore. Like, it's just a frustrating, concerning thing, especially again, because I think this is what makes us us. And losing that and not having that at the sake of making an extra few fucking bucks is just, it's a little soul crushing if I'm being honest. Anyways, thank you all for humoring me while I got this off my chest. And that's your episode. I apologize dearly for fucking up the audio twice now. I'm sure I will
not even
have...
recording right now. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
I literally, my heart stopped for a second. I'm sure I will have so much fun when I'm editing this later, trying to make it sound as not shit as possible. Anyways, on a lighter note, does anybody else have anything they want to get off their chests before we wrap up here?
My brain is infected with Scrabble.
I want to play something.
Every time someone says like insurmountable or crux, I'm imagining it on like a Scrabble
do we have it
board.
downstairs?
No,
it's
not your
upstairs.
You've got like Tetris brain.
We played it like 3 times in
What's
the last
that?
couple of months.
There was when Tetris first came out in the 80s, people used to talk about this. Like, I think that's even why that PlayStation game Tetris Effect was called Tetris Effect, where people would like talk about in the 80s, like playing Tetris on like a fucking Game Boy or whatever, and then like in bed at night, like with their eyes closed, or like even sleeping and having dreams of literally just the Tetris blocks falling, like playing it in their sleep, like dreaming, and be like people who are like so addicted to Tetris.
Sounds like
being,
gambling.
Yeah, exactly. People being like so addicted to Tetris that they'd like just close their eyes, sitting at their desk at work, and they would just like envision like the blocks falling, whatever. It's like, maybe stop with the Tetris. So you're like that with Scrabble, right?
You know,
now.
it's a hilarious thought. Just imagining Malcolm in his bed.
Chuck,
Yeah, him doing that.
hit me. Nope.
And then it's him at the ATM machine.
Just sleepwalking at the ATM machine. That's a great bit of somebody like sleepwalking at a casino. Like, would they stop you? Like, would they argue like you're not of sound mind, or would they be like, I guess if
they don't, the humanity is really gone.
or if he's like, hey, he's giving us money. But I feel like, you know what it is? I feel like in the bit, it would be like if you're sleepwalking at a casino and you're like kind of losing, nobody says anything. But it's like you're sleepwalking at the casino and you just like all on red. And it hits and you win like 20 grand.
They give it to you?
And then they come over and they're like, well, you're sleepwalking.
Yeah,
you're not
like, this doesn't
you're not of sound
count.
mind kind of thing. We can't in good conscience let you gamble kind of thing. Those cheeky fucks. When are we going back? When are we,
Can we cut it there?
when are we going to hit Woodbine, or is it Woodbine? Woodbridge?
Mohawk?
Woodbine.
Mohawk?
Yeah.
That's it.
The ponies.
The ponies. Go do
Alright.
some sports gambling on the horses. Well, I guess nobody else has anything to say. Thank you, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. Fucking leave a comment. What you think, huh? What sports do you think you'd be good at that you're almost certainly not? Does World War III keep you up at night? Does AI and CEOs making too much money and paying no price keep you up at night? Let us know. Anyways,
They won't.
they won't.
Okay.
Goodbye.